What's up, San Diego, and a happy Wednesday to everybody out there in America's finest city. I'm Braden Surprenant. This is the Braden Surprenant Show, live and local each and every day from 10 to 2 on San Diego's number one sports station, 97.3 The Fan. We got a lot to talk about today on the show and a lot to get to when it comes to not only Padres baseball, of course, because we got spring training. And we got spring training rolling on, and we got pitchers and catchers are there. And by the way, we talked about it briefly yesterday, but official signing of Miguel Andujar happened this morning, which is great. That's great to see. So Miguel Andujar officially part of the San Diego Padres today. But you know what? Last night was an interesting conversation with a couple of things. This was not on my bingo card, but last night, I because I don't pay for the Apple TV Plus version of the MLS, but right now San Diego FC is on Fox Sports 2 for their CONCACAF Champions Cup. And so yesterday, I got home and Frank and I did a lot of extra media stuff yesterday here at work to get, did the on YouTube. But again, if you haven't done so already, we got so much extra content on YouTube. And I think some of you guys have started to find it out. We're finding some niche audiences on YouTube. But you want an update on the goals? I got that for you on YouTube. You want an update on the NBA from a local flair? I got that for you on YouTube. NHL, got that for you on YouTube. All of that stuff I got for you on YouTube. But here's the deal. Last night, and I didn't think, last night when I was watching the game, so I got home late. I got home at 5 o'clock. And so I flip on the San Diego FC match because I was like, all right, well, I'm going to put it on right now. I got a couple other things I want to work on. I'm working on posting some of the videos, and let me put this game on. 4-1 aggregate lead for San Diego FC. And I was going to flip back and forth between San Diego FC and TCU basketball. Yeah, I got a lot of, I got other interests involved too. So TCU basketball had the number 5 team of the country in Iowa State in Fort Worth. And that game was tipping off at 6 o'clock Pacific time. Where? On Fox Sports 1. And so I'm watching the first half and, San Diego FC had a couple of breakaways early, couldn't capitalize. But again, they're playing the game of, we just can't lose by 3. And we're going to advance. So it's a little bit different of a way that they had played yesterday. We're going to talk about the game here in just a second. But as I was watching the game, it was getting closer, and it was right around halftime where I'm like, okay, I'll flip it over to Fox Sports 1. And you know what happened on Fox Sports 1? Well, you know what happened on Fox Sports 1? Every time you ever watch a college basketball game over here on the West Coast, over here in a sense of, San Diego State, all that stuff, every single time you get preempted because the game before takes too long. And so I'm watching the game last night and I flip it back over to Fox Sports 1 and watching on Fox Sports 1, it's Purdue and Nebraska, and they're in the final minute of the game. And I'm like, just hurry up and end the game because I want to watch TCU basketball. And I know Aztec fans have to deal with this all the time. So as I flip it over and I'm watching, it goes to overtime. And I'm like, all right, well, now what are they going to do? They can't put it on Fox Sports 2. San Diego FC is on Fox Sports 2. I guess I got to just grind this out right now and watch Purdue play Nebraska on Fox Sports 1. And then I see the ticker, and it was like, all right, game's going to be a little delayed. So I'm like, okay, I might as well flip it back to Fox Sports 2 and watch the beginning of the second half of San Diego FC. So I flip it back over, and it's not San Diego FC. It's TCU basketball against Iowa State. And I'm like, oh boy, there's going to be a lot of San Diegans upset about this. They preempted the San Diego FC match for TCU Iowa State. I was like, I don't know how they're going to do this. But anyway, so that happened last night. A lot of people were upset about that. The overall performance by San Diego FC I thought was fine because, again, you just wanted to really control the clock. You're up 4-1 in the aggregate. They got to beat you 3-0 for it to be a winner for Pumas UNAM. And Pumas, they really tried their best to really dominate the siege yesterday. San Diego FC ended up losing the match 1-0, but because of the 4-2 aggregate to the CONCACAF Champions Cup round of 16, they'll face reigning Liga MX champion Toluca, and they'll be able to host one of the games here coming up. But on paper, mission accomplished. On the field, though, Pumas really dominated that game. 25-5 shot advantage, 9-3 shots on target, 62.5% possession, nearly 70% in the second half, 44 clearances forced. San Diego spent long stretches pinned back, defending waves of pressure at 7,500 feet elevation. But it wasn't about imposing your identity, as we talked about yesterday. Yesterday was about survival, just surviving the altitude and the chaos. And that's exactly what San Diego FC did yesterday. I mean, sure, like you didn't want, you want to win the game and you want to be aggressive and you want to continue to play your style of game, but you couldn't get reckless yesterday and have it burn you. But the big difference was Pablo Cisniega. He's not a backup level keeper. I mean, he played at a high level, and he's starting because CJ Dos Santos is still recovering from serious injuries from last season. Cisniega's recorded 8 saves, made multiple point-blank stops, had 1 misread on a free kick, his only real error of the contest, and was described by Varas as an absolute monster last night. He was. I mean, he was the unsung hero, or really the hero, of the match between San Diego FC and Pumas UNAM. I mean, when your goalkeeper last night is your best player by a mile, that's very comforting and also concerning, right? I mean, it's concerning from the offensive side of things for soccer, but at the same time, you were just trying to survive. You look at the altitude, obviously that was a real factor in the game yesterday. San Diego clearly struggling physically as the match wore on. Varas used all five substitutes as starters visibly were fatigued in last night's game. And, Varas admitted something important post-game. They cannot concede that much territory and possession moving forward, especially when you got Toluca next. And Toluca is located at 8,750 above sea level. I mean, you could talk everything you want about they got to be better, but it's tough. It's going to be a tough training. It's going to be tough training for San Diego FC getting ready for Toluca. They talked about the broadcast controversy. Mark Ziegler did in the article. We mentioned that. I mean, it's in the middle of a crucial knockout match. Fox Sports 2 cut away from live coverage to show the start of TCU Iowa State. The total time was 12 minutes. And for a tournament involving an MLS club in a World Cup year hosted by the same network airing the World Cup, Fox Sports really sent a message of what they thought was important yesterday. I mean, they knocked San Diego FC off the air to put on TCU Iowa State just starting. I mean, it's college basketball. You don't need to put the beginning of college basketball on. Because I thought for sure when I saw that they had a delay on Fox Sports 1, I thought for sure if I wanted to watch TCU Iowa State, it was going to have to be a situation in which I was flipping it on an app. Not, they're going to bump San Diego FC for this. That to me is very telling about where Fox's priorities are when it comes to soccer. I think that shows just how much further the MLS has to go in competing for eyeballs in the United States. I mean, we've had these arguments a lot on this show in this time slot about, where's the hierarchy when it comes to paying attention to certain sports. That kind of told you last night. They went with a Big 12 basketball game over an international tournament, the CONCACAF Champions Cup, where you were in the middle of what is a knockout round game, and they decided to go with the Big 12 basketball instead. But overall big picture of last night's contest, beating a Liga MX club in the opening round, legitimate step for a young franchise. You can't really, you can't knock San Diego FC at all. I mean, they did a great job all season long, and you know what? They start this season on the right foot, beating a team that had already played multiple matches before the first match between San Diego FC and Pumas UNAM here in San Diego. But again, the context does matter. Pumas hasn't won a trophy in 15 years down there. They were booed off their own field yesterday. And they got ripped in the media after losing to San Diego FC here in San Diego. Toluca is the defending champion and has been a lot more stable in Liga MX. So that's going to be a bigger test. Now, I think San Diego FC is legit. I think they proved that they are a legit franchise moving forward. I think they've proven that they can be a top-level team in the MLS year in and year out. But they still have some vulnerabilities. And I think you saw some of the vulnerabilities last night. San Diego showed resilience. They also showed the vulnerability, and both can be true. We're just getting started here on the Braden Surprenant Show. We're going to talk more about the San Diego FC match from last night. Good job by San Diego FC advancing, even though they lost 1-0 last night. That's because of how many goals they really poured it on here in San Diego. They get ready for Toluca next. We'll get some second thoughts on that when we come back. We will also dive into more Padres baseball. We got a lot of MLB stuff to get to today. Sam Levitt will join us in the noon hour today to give us an update on what's going on in Peoria. Got a lot to get to. Braden Surprenant Show, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. San Diego State did exactly what a bubble team has to do Saturday night. No drama, no stress. 88-54 blowout at Air Force. That matters because last year in the same building, San Diego State nearly lost a game that would have sunk its tournament chances. This time, a 23-2 run, 22 forced turnovers, 60% shooting, the definition of a professional road win.
Yeah, absolutely, and especially against a team like Air Force, who I believe is 3-20 overall. They're winless in the conference. This is a team that a good team needed to beat and really take care of, and they did just that.
And yet, here's the uncomfortable truth, though. It barely moved the needle. I mean, in the Ken Palm, dropped 2 spots, 43-41. In the net, dropped 1 spot, 44-43. That's the bubble life, and that's something that Brian Dutcher knows, and and that's why the reward wasn't style points. It's a couple of days off because this week San Diego State will be off until Saturday. And this game against Air Force wasn't about Air Force. This was about surviving the stretch run. Upcoming schedule. Here are the teams that you're going to have coming to Viejas Arena: Nevada, Grand Canyon, Utah State, UNLV. Here are the teams, and you have 2 road games left in these 6 games: New Mexico and Boise State. New Mexico and Boise State are both quad 1 games. Now, if you win out, you're going to be the Mountain West champion. There's not going to be no questions about that. If you go 6-1 with the Utah State win in some of these games, then all of a sudden or 5-1, you're going to be an at-large team, and you probably feel safe in that. Anything less, and welcome back to the stress watching of Selection Sunday.
Yeah, you really have to take care of business. And we talked about it in the last update, is that you've got the schedule reversed now. Nevada, Grand Canyon, Utah State, UNLV, you had them all on the road before. Now they're coming to Viejas Arena. New Mexico, Boise State, I feel them losing one of those games on the road. They really should, though, take care of business against Nevada, Grand Canyon, and UNLV, especially at home. You have to be better against Utah State if you want to take home the Mountain West. Bless you.
Only one quad 1 win so far. 3 chances left. Again, we mentioned, I think you got to go 2-1. This team has to win every game it's supposed to win, which Dutcher admits is harder than catching a big name on a bad night. That's 100% true because you're everybody's target. Now, for BJ Davis, it was a big bounce back game for him. This game mattered a lot for him more than probably any of the other players. Since missing that front end of the 1-1 at Grand Canyon that led to a Grand Canyon victory, BJ Davis admitted that he got to his own head. Numbers backed it up. 5.5 points per game over the 4 games after that. He has shot 26.7%, 1 for 10 from 3, but then came the position switch. And with LZ Harrington shut down the rest to rest his leg, Davis went from scorer to point guard, and that changes everything. Less shots, more decisions, more pressure, but Saturday felt like a reset. 16 points, 7 of 8 shooting, hit the dagger 3 at the halftime buzzer.
Yeah, especially for BJ Davis. We talk about resets for teams. Also, these lesser games, quote unquote lesser games, are also a very good time for a player, an individual player, to reset And that's exactly what BJ Davis did against Air Force.
Yeah, Dutcher helped by calling plays for him, but now the question is bigger. Can BJ Davis score while running the team? Because San Diego State's ceiling definitely depends on that. They get the bye week, they get the health check. Timing couldn't be better. Magoon Guath is going to get reevaluated. LZ Harrington this week is going to get reevaluated. But as much as Dutcher said they look ready, looks don't matter in February. The team doesn't need some hero ball. They need bodies to help finish out this stretch. Now for women's basketball, a little bit different. While the men are sweating out the metrics, the women just continue to keep hammering people. An 81-52 victory over the weekend at San Jose State. They're now 18-4 overall, 12-1 in conference, and have won 14 of their last 15 games, with 4 being in double figures over on the weekend. 4 players being in double figures. They shot 54%, 18 assists. The team balanced, efficient, and ruthless.
Yeah, absolutely. And a 29-point win is not hammered. That's a bludgeoning that they gave to San Jose State. And to be 12-1 in conference, absolutely huge. Also showing they're a very, very good non-conference team as well. Going, 6-3 in the non-conference. So they're a solid all-around team, the women's Aztecs team.
They're leading the Mountain West in threes made, one of the best assisted turnover teams in school history, projected as a number 12 seed, which avoids a true road game in the NCAA tournament. Coach Stacey Terry Hudson put it perfectly. We're not the hunter anymore. We're hunted, and they're handling it like veterans, even though most of their stars are, in fact, sophomores. Next contest, Wednesday at home, Colorado State, a team that you beat 46-44 on the road without making a single three. It's a different kind of test, but same expectations for the women's basketball team. Now, softball's in action. They started over the weekend. They opened the season with 3 walk-off wins in 4 games, and Jade Ignacio wasted no time becoming a star. She was a freshman and a Mountain West Player of the Week.
Yeah, absolutely. An incredible opening weekend for her. 636 average, a 1.727 OPS, had hits in every game for the Aztec softball team. She was incredible.
Coming up, they got 6 games this weekend. Campbell Cartier Classic, including Baylor and Oregon State. If you want early season juice, that's where it is. Baseball starts this weekend. They're very talent rich, but 10:18 on a Wednesday, a rainy Wednesday in San Diego. Oh, it's raining. It's raining, it's pouring. The old man is snoring. It's not really doing that anymore. It's just kind of wet outside now. But anyway, we're back to our normal spots. Appreciate that. Let's I do want to dive into the fact that TCU knocked San Diego FC off the air last night was just hilarious for me. I was trying to tweet out as many hypnotoads as possible to the local reporters that were like, what is this? What happened to San Diego FC? Hey, man. Good thing that happened. Otherwise, I don't think the Frogs knock off the number 5 team in the country last night. What was your overall takeaway from the game last night for San Diego FC? I thought they went in there and did exactly what they needed to do to advance.
Did you see our pre-show tweet?
No, I did not.
I said, our show won't get cut off for TCU basketball.
You never know. It might.
Just start playing some random highlight. Last night's game was basically exactly what I thought last night's game would be. I thought that San Diego FC would try to control possession a little bit more than what they did. Losing, again, I was anticipating that. I was not anticipating. Well, it kind of goes hand in hand, I would say, with all the subs being used and how tired the starters look. That kind of goes hand in hand with not controlling the possession because you're not controlling the pace of play. But other than that, I mean, the game went exactly as you had expected it to. They played like a team that had a 3-goal lead on aggregate, and that's exactly how that game ended out. As far as the broadcast stuff from last night, it does surprise me, but then also when you look at it, it doesn't surprise me because I believe, now correct me if I'm wrong, chat, I believe that the MLS broke its contract with Fox to go to Apple TV. So honestly, it would not have surprised me in the slightest to have an MLS team get bumped for college basketball. So I do kind of understand that point. On the other hand, though, you're not it's not an MLS production. It's a CONCACAF Champions Cup production. And seriously, I know you're a TCU alum. I'm sure you would have lived if you had missed the first couple minutes of TCU.
I thought for
Iowa
sure
State.
that game was going to start on a streaming app.
Yeah.
I did not think that game was going to get moved at all. Because it was a CONCACAF Champions Cup. I was shocked that that's what they decided to do. And, as laid out in Mark Ziegler's article about the game last night, I mean, you look what Fox Sports did. I'm telling you, they told you everything you need to know about where they rank soccer in terms of their business for viewership. World Cup year, knockout international match involving an MLS team, and they got bumped for regular season college basketball that's not even in this area. It's not even in this area.
I think part of it also...
It's not like it got bumped for like a mountain for the Aztecs, right? Yeah. I mean, I thought, again, for sure, they would probably do it around the country maybe, and then San Diego would get San Diego FC. That's all you need to know about where Fox Sports views what they think was going to drive more ratings was we're going to put the beginning of a college basketball game. The best part about college basketball is the second half. The beginning 12 minutes is like a waste. You don't need it. Nobody need to watch that. I mean, the diehard college basketball fans might, but I didn't care. I had the game on. I think Cody in Wyoming brings up a good point. If it was Miami, if it was Inter Miami, they would have moved it?
I think also
maybe.
I think also part of it was the fact that the aggregate was so out of hand. Like if it was a 1 goal or if they were tied on aggregate, I don't think they touched that game. But because the way the game was going and with how out of hand it was as far as aggregate, they saw no real need to protect a 3-goal lead on television and felt it was a little bit easier to move it for the start of the college basketball game. I don't think they should have, but I think the fact that San Diego had that matchup so well in hand is a major reason as to why they bumped it.
Yeah, I look at the I look at the way that they handled that. I thought that was odd. I really did. I thought that was odd. I didn't think that they were going to move that game. I really didn't. I thought for sure it would be still on and I'd watch it on stream. That was basically what I was looking for in that particular. But when I was like, all right, well, I'll tune into the TCU game when this Purdue game is over. Overall, though, like I know the altitude was an issue, but they got to be able to figure it out. They got to be able to figure out the altitude because they're going to have to take on Toluca soon. And they play at a higher altitude. But again, as we mentioned with this deal on when it came to this particular tournament, right? Mm. We looked at it as it's extra. Right? This is extra. This is bonus points. You're playing with house money. Any damage that you possibly do in this tournament is great, but at the same time, it's not end all be all. And San Diego FC already proved in this first round by winning the game by winning the matchup in general is great, but they've already proven in this first round that last year wasn't a one-off, and they're here to stay. And that was the whole point of this first round against Pumas.
Yeah, because it could have easily just been you're done. It could have just easily been that, and then you're worried about the season. You're worried about the opener against Montreal coming up in 10 days from now. And it has a completely different feel going into the MLS season. But the fact that you were able to not only take care of Pumas the way you did, but to do it in such a convincing fashion, I think really settles a lot of nerves going into season 2 of the MLS, quells a lot of nerves going to Snapdragon Stadium in 10 days. I think people are more excited now for the second season of the MLS.
Is it a problem if your goalkeeper was your best player last night?
No.
I don't think so.
Because, I mean, if you look at it, he's the only one standing still most of the night.
The other thing, too, it's like he's the backup. He did a great job. and filling in. And he really, I mean, when you're playing in a match like this and you're leading the aggregate 4-1, you don't necessarily need as much as you say and you want to push and all that other stuff, and which I liked, but Pumas was pushing the entire time because they had to. I mean, they had to. You get a performance like you got at Cisniega, you're in really good company, I think. More so than what may have lacked on the offense. At that point, it doesn't even matter. And here's the thing. If Pumas would have scored another goal, I bet you San Diego FC would have ramped it up a little bit. It's hard to criticize the offense and the way that this game was played when you roll in there already knowing you have a 4-1 lead in the game.
Yeah, and
it's hard. It's hard to get. I mean, you could say all the right things. You could say we're gonna play our game. You could say we're gonna treat it like something different. But at the end of the day, you don't want to unintelligently push too far when it burns you on the back end.
Yeah, exactly, and that's what we discussed. This is what we discussed on the show yesterday. Is I thought the best way to do that, the best way to keep yourself fit, is to control possession. And that was the one thing that they did not do last night the way I was anticipating them to do, the way they usually do. But they played but the way they played last night was exactly how exactly how you expect a club that has a 3-goal lead going into a second round. That's what you expect. You expected them to be a little bit more relaxed. You expected them to be a little bit more passive. And that's exactly what they were. And Prolific, we love you to death. Big game happened last night. We'll get to that. And the reason why we're starting with that is so we don't forget it on the back end.
The reason why we're starting about it because the entire show is going to be about the Padres today. I mean, This is probably going to be the last we talk about San Diego FC today. Good win in terms of advancing. I know they lost yesterday, but at the end of the day, they got to advance. I thought they represented San Diego FC very well. I think they represented the city very well, and I'm looking forward to see what now's a good measuring stick. I think Toluca's a good measuring stick for San Diego FC to see just how much you've advanced in just 1 year. I mean, it's only been like a calendar year, right? Even that. I mean, it's probably still a couple of days before it's a full calendar year for San Diego FC. So they'll have Toluca next. They will start MLS play at the end of the month. But overall, they advance after a 1-0 loss yesterday. When we come back, 3 questions that Dennis Lin put in his article today that are facing the Padres going into spring training. We'll try to find some answers for the Padres when we come back. San Diego's number 1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. Time for your weekly NBA update. We talked a lot last week about some potential trades that were about to go down, maybe in the National Basketball Association, but can't start this weekly update without talking about what happened on Monday with the not really level of Malice in the Palace Part 2, but Monday night in Charlotte gave us the one of the ugliest moments of the NBA season. Third quarter altercation between the Pistons and the Hornets escalated into a full-on brawl with multiple fights going on at one time. 4 players were ejected. Jalen Duran, Isaiah Stewart, Miles Bridges. Diabate also got ejected. Hornets coach Charles Lee ejected later for going after officials in the game. Police briefly on the court. Never a good look. So it wasn't trash talk. It was punches thrown, headlocks, total loss of control, and something that might be entertaining on social media, but something that the NBA does definitely not want to see again.
No, absolutely not. We do want to see, however, the Hornets mascot just slowly trotting his way
through the middle of the fight,
right through the screen. But no, it's anytime something like this happens, and there have been fights, there have been scuffles, but nothing to this extent here recently in the NBA. It's always a bad look for the sport. It's always a black eye for the sport. And I mean, whether it's whatever conversation you want to throw at this, it's never good to see a bunch of your athletes completely lose control like that.
Detroit says they were targeted. Charlotte says it spiraled out of control. Refs say everybody crossed the line, but this isn't like the 90s toughness of the NBA. This was lack of discipline, and the NBA is probably going to bring the hammer on suspensions that are coming. But Charlotte in particular can't really afford to have these because they're right there in the middle of a play-in tournament push. and they can't be losing significant players for a long period of time.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't think it's going to be as bad as you mentioned the Malice in the Palace before. I don't think the suspensions and penalties are going to be that bad because fans weren't involved.
Yeah, you have Ron Artest running into the stands.
Not even that. It's also, I believe it was Steven Jackson who punched a fan that was on the court. This was all contained on the court, but I can't see like any less than a 5 to 10 game suspension for some of these guys. Probably the guys who instigated it a little bit more so if that.
We're at the All-Star break coming up for the NBA, and for most of the season, the West had dominated the East in terms of better teams, but not anymore. Since January 20th, the East is 48-22 against the West, and overall interconference record now nearly even, with the West winning 142 games and the East winning 139. Yes, the West is still deeper, but the idea that the East is soft is really starting to fade.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the East has had a lot more competitive games this year, and I actually believe I'm not sure. Is it East versus West in the All-Star game this year, or is it?
No, I think they're doing
it's the league versus the world, U.S. versus the world, right?
I don't pay attention to the NBA All-Star stuff enough because
nor should you.
The game is kind of a waste. The East might not have as many contenders in the NBA, but it has more teams playing connected. Yeah. It has more teams playing physical. It has more teams playing playoff style basketball right now. Pistons, Knicks, Celtics, and even the Hornets are part of that shift.
Yeah, absolutely. And we've seen with the Hornets, that is a huge change because we've seen the Charlotte Bobcats, Charlotte Hornets always been towards the bottom of the East, and now they're starting to run towards a playoff spot. So that is a very, very big and good change for them. And unfortunately, it's getting highlighted in the midst of all of this.
And so is Detroit. Now, Detroit's number one in the power rankings on NBA.com, but can they handle the spotlight? They sit at number one for a reason. They're 38-13. They got an elite defense, 7-1 versus other top six teams. But the fight raises a real question: Can the young contenders keep its composure when teams start coming at them physically? And they failed that on Monday.
Yeah, they absolutely did. And especially the teams like the Knicks that are nipping at their heels. The Celtics aren't as good as they have been, but they're still a very, very good team. Miami also running around in the mix. I mean, there are some good veteran teams out there that are going to give them fits. And if they can't control emotions, can't control tempers, we're back to the bad boys of Detroit again.
Let's go to the Western Conference, where Oklahoma City, Denver, and Minnesota are still near the top of the power rankings, but starting to show some warning signs among Western contenders.
Yeah, absolutely. The Thunder missing Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and Jalen Williams, blowing big leads, struggling badly in clutch games. The Nuggets have Nikola Jokic carrying a huge load that cannot be sustained. The T-Wolves have made a win now move and don't look any better off of it. So, yeah, there's a lot of things going on right now for the contending teams in the West.
I mean, they might be deeper than the East, but they're also probably more fragile and probably the most fragile they've been in years. No team feels bulletproof like they had in the past, and that opens the door for chaos come April for some teams that are starting to trend in the right direction in the NBA. Hornets, 9-game winning streak, elite rebounding. They real play-in threat. The Knicks defense is elite again. Alvarado adds an edge. The Lakers are winning with defense and free throws, not just vibes like it's been in the past. But at the same time, Frank, there's some teams trending in the wrong direction.
Yeah, absolutely. The Chicago Bulls, their roster makes absolutely no sense as to what they've got going on there. The Rockets offense is stuck in neutral. The Clippers sold at the deadline despite having success. So, I mean, and you can also kind of put
all guests on 97 to the Fan. Join us on the David P. Shapiro Fan Hotline. David P. Shapiro, criminal defense attorneys helping good people regain control of their future when charged with the crime since 2010. Visit davidpshapirolaw.com. He's Frank Marchese. I'm Braden Surprenant. We're the Braden Surprenant Show, live and local each every day from 10 to 2 on San Diego's number one sports station, 97.3 The Fan. If you haven't done so already, subscribe to our YouTube page. It's free to do. You can also become a member. That's some other things that are mixed in there. We're going to be doing a membership. We're going to do the members only podcast in the month of March. We're going to start those up then. But we're trying to increase our subscribers. Be sure to do that at B_SURP at BSURP. If you're watching on the Braden Surprenant Show page, it's simple. Scroll down. There's a logo right there. And right next to it says there's a subscribe button. Click that. Helps us out. Give us a like on the YouTube videos. 61 if you watched it on 97 through the fan page. Give us a like. Really appreciate that. Helps us push out our content to as many people as possible. And if you haven't done so already, you're going to see some of them throughout our commercial breaks on YouTube, but we have new content again, new update on a lot of different things, or weekly updates, NHL, NBA, San Diego goals, UCSD, USD, San Diego State, all the content that we would like to get to on the show, but we just don't have any time. We give you extra content on YouTube. So another big reason to subscribe. We have cleaned up the YouTube page as much as we can to try to make it easier for you. But if you go to our YouTube page at B_SURP, you will see at the top, our live broadcast. You can check out where our members are, videos for you, and then it goes into the videos we had just recently posted, but it's all organized. Pro sports, all of our playlists for that. We got stuff on the Padres, have extra content on them. We have extra content on San Diego FC, the NHL. We have college sports on there as well. San Diego goals. We got high school sports updates, motorsports as well. I know Nikki P jumped into that last night. So we got a preview of the Daytona 500. Just so much extra content on our YouTube page. Go check it out. Hit subscribe, and you'll be able to find out all of that information. Also on the 97 through the fan page, there is now at the top ways that you can subscribe to all of our shows. Gwen and Chris has their page. Ben and Woods has their page. I do. Sam Levitt, Matt Scraby. But if you go to the 97 through the fan page on YouTube, youtube.com/@973thefan, no spaces in between, it will pull up our live video, what's live now, and then it'll say our shows, and that will be a way to go see extra content for all of our shows. Super cool, super easy. If you're driving around listening and you want more San Diego Padres talk, more sports content, check out our YouTube pages. They're just filled with extra stuff. It's pretty fun to dive into. If you throw it on while you're working on stuff. I did that yesterday. Threw on some stuff from Gwen and Chris yesterday while I was getting some work done. Threw it on my smart TV. I was able to upload our own YouTube videos at the same time. So a lot of extra content on there. Plus, Sam Levitt's out there right now in Peoria, and he is posting a ton of videos of press conferences and meeting with the players and all that. And that's all going on 97 through the fans YouTube page. And you'll see it near the top of the page as soon as you jump on. So tons of extra content. Go to YouTube, at 97 through the fan. Go to the Braden Surprenant Show page at B_SURP. Subscribe to both accounts. It's free. And then when you go onto YouTube the next time, it'll be right there. Easy for you to access. You don't have to go searching for us again. So really help out if you guys go out there and do that. Now, let's talk about what Dennis Lin had yesterday. And I'm assuming it's yesterday because he said Justin Verlander was still available. So I'm going to go with yesterday. But he had a pretty good article about the most pressing questions for the Padres going into spring training. And when you look at the overall big picture of the Padres enter spring as intriguing. They enter the spring as potentially volatile. And they're also slipping with odds makers, which I find interesting. Now, they don't like the way that this team obviously is constructed with the way that they have predictions for this Padres baseball team. But I think a lot of it has to do with the uncertainty surrounding ownership, surrounding front office leadership, surrounding payroll flexibility, surrounding competitive window. These are all of the buzzwords that we've talked about when it comes to the Padres day in and day out during the offseason. But that being said, at the same time, big picture, the Padres could make franchise history this year by making a third straight postseason. Just from that information alone. I mean, as much as we talk about they got to do this, they got to do that, how are they going to compete with the Dodgers? And, we got people calling in going, you need to sell me why this team's going to be good. They're not going to be good. Frank, at the end of the day, if they make the playoffs this year, this will be the first time in franchise history that they have made the playoffs 3 years in a row. Think about that for a second. Think about what this organization used to be and what it is now. Yet we still have like that narrative of like, I can't get excited for this team, man. They're not going to win a World Series. First of all, you don't know. Second of all, are you kidding me? The Padres could potentially do something this season they had never done ever in their history. And that's make the playoffs 3 straight years in a row. It's never been done before for this organization. So I continue to say and look, they got holes in their roster. Everybody knows it. The odds are not great. There's a lot of uncertainty there. I'm going to tell you right now, all you Padre fans and people that have been Padres fans for the last decade plus, 20 years, 25 years, 30 years, more than 30 years, I could probably pick out any year up until this point and go, would you rather have this going into spring training or whatever the narrative was in that year, and you would take this year over that year 9 times out of 10? Probably wouldn't take it in 98. Probably wouldn't take it maybe in 2022. But with that being said, you would still take what's happening. You would take this uncertainty. You would take this roster. You would take this pitching staff over any of those years. What was the narrative in 2013 about the Padres entering the season? Who was the big name on that team in 2013? I mean, you could look up who those players might be, but like from that perspective, you look at the 2013 Padres, I mean, you're looking at a roster where you were excited. And I remember these years, you were excited for Carlos Quentin. And I've gotten to meet Carlos now. You know, he is done. I mean, Carlos Quentin, great guy. But at age 30, he was like that was like the huge sign. Carlos Quentin had a great career in Major League Baseball. But that was the big sign going into the season. Your 8 players that played the most in 2013, Nick Hundley, Yonder Alonso, Jed Jerko, Everett Cabrera, Chase Headley, Carlos Quentin, Alexi Amarista, and Will Venable. You were excited for guys like Chris Denorfia, Jesus Guzman. What was 26-year-old Kyle Blanks going to be? I mean, I remember hearing about how much Kyle Blanks was going to be this like phenomenal player. You also had veteran 37-year-old Mark Kotsay. You had 2 current managers in Major League Baseball on this team. 24-year-old Yasmani Grandal. I'm telling you, like as much as you want to be pessimistic about 2026, it's still way better than it was before. That team had Cameron Maben, Pedro Siriaco on it. That team had Eric Stoltz as one of its pitchers. Eric Stoltz played in the most games out of any pitcher on that team. Andrew Kashner, Edison Volquez, Jason Marquis. What a great year for Jason Marquis. Tyson Ross was on that team. I mean, just think about the team that you have now. It's that uncertainty sometimes. I get it. I understand. But still, at the same time, there's reasons to be optimistic and excited about this year's Padres season. Now, the Padres could make franchise history of the 3rd straight postseason, or they could succumb to their question marks, which would be a collapse due to ownership transition, expiring general manager contact, potential labor lockout looming. Out of all of those things that could potentially collapse the season, I look at those, Frank. I don't see those as weighing in on the current roster.
No.
It doesn't affect the current roster at all. None of those things affect the current roster and their ability to play baseball.
No, not at all. It's more of an organizational deal from what I'm seeing with these.
Right. Like, could it affect how much money they have to spend? Yes, it could affect that. But at the same time, and Dennis Lin lays it out, there's a lot of stuff to break down with this. Let's talk about the first thing. Dennis Lin talks about the ownership sale. Now, as he reports the status of the sale, Shield Seidler and brothers-in-law resolved internal control dispute. We've talked about this. First round of bids are due late February. Okay, on the timeline. You follow me so far?
Yes.
So late February is the first round of what are you offering for the San Diego Padres? Okay.
Mhm.
Later on, as part of this, it sounds like, well, as of right now, it sounds like 3 billionaires are identified as potential bidders. Possible agreement could be in place by as early as April. So think about that for a second. You have the bids happen in late February. Then you're going to have, that's that first round of bids, which means you're going to get a second round of bids. You're probably going to get counter offers. It's like the same process of buying a house. It's just worth way much more money.
It's a bigger house.
It's a way bigger house. The Petco Park is huge. But there's going to be first round. There's going to be counter offers. There's going to be second round. They're going to be picking finalists, and they're not going to get a deal done until maybe April at the earliest. And then at the same time, these sales completions take months. Go back to look at the Orioles, the Baltimore Orioles. So they agreed to a sale in January of 2023. They didn't complete that sale, Frank, until August of 2024.
Yeah, there's a lot of hoops you have to go through.
This is all the stuff that they have to be a part of. This is the finding the right people. This is the vetting process. This is the, how much of this is the money going to be, right? This is the, can we get this owner to be approved by Major League Baseball? All the other owners got to approve this guy of joining their club. I mean, there's so many of these things that are happening. Now, they sold, the Orioles agreed to a sale January 2023. They completed it in August of 2024. During that time, Baltimore's team limited spending during the process. Was Baltimore spending money before that, though?
No, they were
not. They
weren't
even spending money anyway. So, and they still traded for Corbin Burns during that process.
They were very much, they were in a very different financial situation as compared to what the Padres are in right now.
And the Padres situation for a sale is very unique.
Yes.
Teams don't sell in this particular situation. You know who else doesn't? The Seattle Seahawks. But you know who else is selling? The Seattle Seahawks. Mm-hmm. Why? Because it's very similar to what the Padres situation is. Okay.
Relocation for the Seahawks incoming, by the way.
Oh, yeah, they're going to go to Oakland, too. Is Lacob going to buy them, too? Financial implications for the Padres. The projected payroll is already near 2025 levels. They said that was going to be the case. They have $17 million committed to Michael King. Dennis Lynn is reporting that the Yu Darvish contract resolution is expected pre-opening day. That could free up some money. But as we talk about how the Padres need a bat and the Padres need an arm, the club wants flexibility for the trade deadline, likely operating under budget constraints. Now, this goes to, you shouldn't be surprised about the way that the Padres do business now in terms of building their roster, because it's happened almost every year. Mm-hmm. They get a couple of fringe guys at this time. They take chances right now, but they save their budget for the trade deadline, and that's where they make their moves. Now, I don't know what type of capital they're going to have by having the 30th best ranked farm system in Major League Baseball, and obviously I think they're hoping for Ethan Salas to have a bounce back year, and for some guys to really shine in the first half of the season. But would you rather have the Padres spend all their money now and take the risk, or spend a little bit less now and have some wiggle room for the trade deadline when you really need to know what your problems are, Frank?
I would have it for the trade deadline for sure.
I think so too. I think you got to. I think that's the way you got to play this. I think you have to have a little bit left for the trade deadline. Now, because they're likely operating under budget constraints, a lot of fans were asking about the Framber Valdez situation. Remember, Framber Valdez, he signed with the Tigers. He signed a 3-year, $115 million deal with Detroit. And the Padres showed real interest in Framber Valdez. We got the reports that the Padres were interested in Framber. Padres explored longer-term structure with this particular option. Talks never advanced seriously. And the other thing that Dennis Lynn points out is signing him would have cost second and fifth round draft picks, $1 million in international bonus pool money, and because the Padres paid luxury tax in 2025. And the fact that he's listing that, I think, tells you exactly why Kevin Acee mentioned they're probably not going to sign Zach Gallen. Because in order to get Zach Gallen, it's the same thing. Are you willing? If they're not willing, if he's bringing up that signing Framber Valdez was going to cost you XYZ and it doesn't seem like it's worth it. If it's not worth it for Framber Valdez, I'm going to tell you who it's not worth it for. It ain't worth it for Zach Gallen. If the idea is that, oh, by the way, we would also have to give up this, and we have the 30th best farm system according to Major League Baseball's rankings, not the organizational rankings, but the reporter rankings, the blogger rankings, if you will. If they're interested in kind of replenishing the farm system and they don't want to do that, if they're not willing to do it for Framber Valdez, as mentioned before, they ain't willing to do it for Zach Gallen. And I agree with that because the farm system already ranked 30th in a lot of different rankings. The Padres want to act aggressively, but they may not have the financial clearance in order to do that, is what that is telling me. But we'll see. I mean, they find ways to make things happen. Now, the second question, and we're not going to have too much time to talk about this in this hour. We'll continue the conversation in the next hour. But the second big question, of course, is the A.J. Preller situation. He's in the final year of his contract. After 2025, many believed extension was inevitable, but it's now 4 months later and still no deal. Ownership sale definitely complicates a lot of these things. And Preller's position publicly is, I expect something to get done. He claims talks weren't really a top priority for a guy that's trying to build a roster and build a team for the 2026 season. He emphasizes fair, realistic win-win deal. And a lot of people around the league say they believe that he would have plenty of suitors if available. And I agree with that, Frank. I think if they let him go, or the new ownership maybe lets A.J. Preller go, which I don't think is going to be the case, because I think they're going to work out a deal. They know that if they decide not to bring him, he's going to go somewhere else immediately. Somebody's going to find him fast.
100%. And I think it might be a team that has an established general manager, or one that maybe fans don't appreciate David Stearns. But I would have to assume the longer into the season that A.J. Preller goes without getting a contract extension, the more and more worried that I would be. I would expect it more or less to be done in April, May, the latest. You would know, but if it starts getting into July, August, and he still doesn't have a deal, I would be very concerned at that point.
A.J. Preller being the general manager of the Mets would be bananas. I agree with Juan. On almost an unlimited budget for a guy that likes chasing big-time stars. The other thing, how about this? Like, the Yankees, if they don't make the playoffs, they're going to get rid of everybody. Are you telling me that the guy from New York, A.J. Preller, wouldn't be a phone call by the Yankees with the budget? Because if you're like a team that actually is a big market team, and you see what A.J. Preller could do with a small market team, and the Padres willing to spend, and you're like, oh, we can give this guy the $300 million budget. Let's see what he can cook. I'm telling you, teams are going to want him. He's going to be a high commodity, and he wants to be here in San Diego. So it's obviously very important for them. I know the Padres know this. I know A.J. Preller knows this. They're negotiating on their own time, as they should. But I mean, there's a question mark out there for a lot of fans about whether or not that deal will get done. I think it does. I think 100% it does. But there is the question still. Until there's pen to paper, that question will still remain for a lot of Padres fans. Now, there is that new organizational side of things. With the current leadership want him part of the organization? Are they going to leave that decision to an incoming owner? I mean, there's some of those things that I think a lot of people ask the question of, and only the Padres, A.J. Preller, the new ownership group, know the answers to. Last two seasons, if you want to just think about performance for A.J. Preller, the last two seasons considered some of Preller's best work. Operated under payroll constraints, thin farm system, still made the playoffs the past two seasons, and hit on some big bargain signings going into the year. And if no extension, Preller is incentivized to win immediately, take risks, mortgage more future if needed. I mean, that's also part of the deal. I mean, he already tried kicking the tires of Framber Valdez. If this is A.J. Preller's last chance, do you think he's going to let anything go to the wayside, Frank? I think that's good news for Padres fans anyway. Let the guy wheel and deal if that's the case. Spring bargains. Can the Padres do it again?
Sam Levitt.
We'll talk about that with Sam in the next hour. Cold, rainy day here in America's finest city. We were broadcasting live for the Bill House Studios. We know how. Out in, I hope, sunnier Arizona. Joining us at the Peoria Sports Complex and joining us on the David P. Shapiro fan line.
Look at how
David P.
smug he
Shapiro,
looks.
criminal defense attorneys helping good people regain control of their future when charged with a crime since 2010. Visit davidpshapirolaw.com. Doesn't look that much better weather-wise. It's probably a little cloudy out there in Arizona. What's the latest? What's our latest weather report there, Sam?
Yeah, it's a little cloudy. It was sunnier earlier. It was much more sunny yesterday during the middle of the day. But here in Arizona, even when it's cloudy, it's still very, very bright, and you feel like the sun is kind of beating down on you. So I get my hat on and my sunglasses on. But you're right, it is a little cloudy today, but dry and warm. So for baseball purposes, I think it's just about right.
How was yesterday with pitchers and catchers reporting? Obviously, everybody's excited for the season. Everybody's excited to get after it again. You know, that's you get those juices going. You got to talk to Craig Stammen. You got to talk to Steven Souza Jr. Overall, what's the vibe from the Padres, the players, and the coaching staff getting started again?
Yeah, I mean, I think a couple of things stand out. Number one, obviously, day one, day two is spring training. It's very hard to not have a relaxed vibe unless you get bad news. And thankfully, with all this major injury news early on at spring training for a lot of these teams, there's been nothing to that of that sort so far for the Padres, which is great. And you want them to stay healthy. And generally, it's a very good vibe, I would say. Obviously, you have a brand new manager, a first-time manager in Craig Stammen. You know, look, Craig, you know what you're getting from him. You're getting somebody that is very confident, very comfortable in his own skin, very nice. I think already, it's just very good with the media and the talking part of being a manager and relaying information. So look, it's early. Obviously, there's a long way to go and a long season to go. But I think this is going to be a manager and a staff that is going to work really hard. I think they're going to bring a lot of energy. I do feel like this is a very energetic staff that's bringing kind of a very energetic vibe to the early part of spring training here. So overall, it's good. And so far, I think this time of year, no news is good news. Yes. When guys show up and they're relatively healthy and ready to go. So to this point, it's been all good on the Padres front, I would say.
Yeah, that's of course, especially when you start getting reports. This is the time that you get all the offseason injuries when guys got hurt during the offseason, and you got all of these players around Major League Baseball are going to miss significant time. Didn't have to really have that conversation yesterday. In fact, it seemed like it was good news with Jason Adam and Joe Musgrove and some of the question marks with the injured players.
Yeah, well, let's talk about a few of those because I do think there are a few items, even though they're not necessarily super newsworthy to discuss. And you mentioned Jason Adam. Look, Jason Adam is throwing bullpens. I mean, he threw a bullpen today. He was doing agility work yesterday. We'll see. I'm not sure yet what the timeline is going to be for him exactly. It certainly sounds like the Padres are not going to rush him. And also with the state of their bullpen, I don't know that they really have to or should. This should be a bullpen that, quite frankly, should be okay without him if he has to miss part of the year. But I'll tell you, it's sort of amazing when you consider that injury and when it happened in September and how it looked. The fact that, day 1, 2 of spring training, he's throwing bullpens that look pretty normal, I think is a really, really good sign. So we'll see what the timetable ultimately is for Jason, but he looks good. And, I don't know if this would be ahead of schedule or not technically, but I will tell you, it looks very promising this early in spring training to see him doing the level of activity that he's doing right now. Joe Musgrove threw yesterday. I thought that was, of all the things we saw yesterday, right there at the top of the best things we saw, which was just seeing Joe back on a mound, looking healthy, looking like Joe. And it gives you a good reminder of just how important he is to this team. The only, I would say most not pressing, but most not even significant, I would say, I'm looking for the right word, I would say most relevant injury quote unquote news, although it's not really news. We had heard that Sungmun Song had injured his oblique at some point during the offseason, and that still is something that he's continuing to work his way back from. We heard from Song today. He is feeling a lot better. It's a lot better than it was before. But, a little unclear right now if that's going to push him back at all as far as his spring training and getting into games. So it is still something he's working his way back from. It sounded like the Padres were surprised and quite frankly happy with his status coming in with that oblique. So it sounds like it's in a good spot, but he is still sort of working his way back from that. And again, at this point, day 1 to his spring training, I think unclear to know yet if that's going to affect his timeline to be ready for the season at all. But sounds like everything on that oblique front for Song is in a pretty good place.
We're talking with Sam Levitt, who is live from Peoria, Arizona, talking Padres spring training here on the Braden Surprenant Show, Santa Cruz Sports Station, 97.3 The Fan. I liked what Steven Souza Jr. said yesterday. I liked his, clip that you posted for us on social media at 97.3 The Fan. We played it yesterday for anybody that had missed it. It's on there. It's also on our YouTube page as well. Younger guy, just, fresh out of the league not too long ago, hitting coach now for the Padres, but I like a lot of the things he had to say about the hitting philosophy, and it sounds like a lot of the players are really going to, I think, gel well with Steven Souza Jr. What was your take to what his press conference was?
Yeah, look, I thought he did really well yesterday. I liked what I heard too. Look, I think when you talk about this offense, there are a couple of things that stand out. Let's start with last season. And we all know slug was a major issue for this team last season relative to the names they have in their lineup. And I thought it was a good answer from Steven Souza Jr. when he was asked about, the Padres leaving some slug on the table last year. And he said, look, that's fair to say. Now, I think it was pretty clear, at least early on here, it's not going to be an approach, a mindset, a teaching of, hey, go up there and try to hit a home run. And if you strike out, that's fine. We just want you to go up there and try to hit the ball out of the ballpark. I don't think that's going to be this team's approach to make up for that slug. It sounds like he wants these guys to be complete hitters. And also, mention Petco Park. And I think that's just a reality to being a Padres hitter is you're playing in a big ballpark that plays very pitcher friendly depending on the weather, and you have to have, as Steven Souza said, some different clubs in your bag. So I do think he wants it to be a group that can do a lot of different things offensively. The other interesting part of, I think, whenever you step into a role like this with this team in particular is this is not a group where you're walking in and it's a bunch of young guys that, are trying to find their way. It's just not what it is. You've got all-stars, future Hall of Famers in that clubhouse, and that will be part of the process for him to figure out, hey, if those guys need to make adjustments, how do they do that? Well, also you balance what some of these guys have done throughout their careers and the success they have. So, I think that will all be part of the process for him as he gets started here. But, going to be interesting to kind of see how his message gets delivered and how this offense looks perhaps different than it did last year.
Talking with Sam Levitt, who's live from Peoria, Arizona, talking about the Padres and the update from spring training. Obviously, it is Craig Stammen's first season as being a manager, and a lot of great things coming out from Joe Musgrove and some of these players that played with Craig and that kind of calming presence that he brings to a club. Have you been able to see some of that so far from your observations? How have, for a lot of fans that have been out there yet, how's Craig been jumping in as a manager on some of these backfields?
Yeah, it's early. Today was the first day they really did anything on the backfields themselves. We had a little PFP, stuff like that. There is live BP going on right now. I'm not sure if that's still going on.
Out there. We see Stammen out there hitting some fungos.
I didn't see him do that today. There wasn't a ton there wasn't a ton going on the last couple of days aside from the bullpens. There is live BP going on right now, but we're not really in like the workout portion of the week yet. That'll really get started as full squad gets here and it gets a little bit deeper into the week. But look, I think generally with Craig, is just super well respected. And I do agree and think he does have a real calming presence. He's just a very, to me at least early on, very cool, calm, and collected. And I think that's a good thing for this team and this group. and he's in a really unique spot where he was a player not all that long ago, and was a former teammate of a lot of these guys. But early on, I think Craig's presence has been really, really good. And just to go back to yesterday for a second, I think you talk about somebody like a Randy Knorr, his bench coach. I think guys like that on his staff will be helpful to Craig, even in a spring training sense, right? How you run a spring training, what you need to get done, how to go about it. There's, I think, definitely going to be a reliance on some of his staff to help him through. I think one of the nice things about Craig so far, even going back to the winter meetings and going back to yesterday and even today and some of the things he said, it's not like, to me at least, it's not like Craig is trying to pretend he's something he's not. He acknowledges, look, he's got to, learn a lot of different things here and kind of, do at least a little bit of figuring it out on the fly. And I don't think he runs away from that. And I think that's okay. That's the situation. And, he's going to bring his own unique skill set and vantage point. And so far, so good, I would say, from Craig Stammen.
What about this is what a lot of fans always want to say. They want to see, and I've prefaced this already based on reading your tweet. I go, I only can report on the players that Sam Levitt has physically seen. They might be there, they may not be there. We don't know.
Right.
It's only based on what Sammy Lev has seen out there in Peoria. But for all of the fans out there that want to see what players are getting the extra work in and showing up early, position player wise, because obviously the pitchers and catchers have to be there at this point. Who are some of the Padres players that are getting a little extra work in? And just to preface it, you don't have to be there early. These guys are going above and beyond. It's not expected of them. They don't have to show up until their set date. Some of these guys just, want to get a little extra stuff in. They live in Arizona, want to get some workouts in. Who are some of the position players that you have already physically seen?
I think it's an important note you make before we even get into this, that when I tweet or I talk about who's here early, it is not a commentary on who's not here. And I promise it's not. And I'm totally with you. It is a really long season, and there are a lot of veteran guys on this team. And quite frankly, when you're going through a season that starts now and hopefully goes through late October, I really don't think it matters whatsoever whether they're here on February 11th or they're here on February 13th or 14th, as long as they are here by when they're supposed to be. But look, a number of guys are already here on the position player side. Jake Cronenworth, Xander Bogaerts, Jackson Merrill, Ramon Laureano, Gavin Sheets. They've been getting at bats the last couple of days and hitting in the cages and look ready to go. And always good to see, guys here and getting some early work in. But we're still a ways away even from full squad workouts. But great to see those guys here and getting their work in, which is always a good thing.
I'm surprised. I was honestly surprised at Xander Bogaerts because of his travel schedule he's going to have to do, because the Netherlands usually always have to start in Japan or some place that's very far away for the World Baseball Classic. But good to see that Xander is out there getting some reps. We didn't talk about this particular player in terms of injury, but he missed most of last year. In fact, almost all of last year with an injury. And the top prospect of Ethan Salas, I know he's got invited to camp. It sounds like he is there working on some things. What's been the latest reports on Ethan Salas from the Padres, and what have you seen out of Ethan as he's getting some work in with some big leaguers as a 19, 20-year-old?
Yeah, I haven't talked to him yet this spring. He's here. At this point, it feels like he's sort of a veteran, at least in seeing him inside that major league clubhouse. So I'm excited to see him. I'm excited to see what he can do in the Cactus League games and certainly beyond into presumably his minor league season. I'm still super high on what he's going to do eventually. I think we have to remember how incredibly young he is, and I haven't talked to him yet, but certainly on the to-do list over the course of the next week or so.
Last thing for you, Sam, just anything else that you might that people that follow you, that follow the 97 through the fan account, can be on the lookout for in today and over the next couple of days before we talk to you again of some things coming up that you might be posting.
Yeah, I'll say what I said yesterday on the morning show. I would just very much encourage your listeners to follow us on all the social media platforms, whether that be X or Instagram, 97.3 The Fan SD, on X, 97.3 The Fan, on Instagram and on Facebook as well. Look, my Beyond the Radio hits and beyond information gathering and in the broadcast part of it, my goal here is to, sort of be the eyes and ears for the fans, especially in the early part of spring training when there are no games yet, there are no telecasts, there's nothing like that. So my goal is to kind of be the eyes and ears and kind of bring you inside spring training and quite frankly, post as much video as I can. And that's the goal. So if you don't follow us on those platforms, please do. And you'll see content you won't see anywhere else.
I appreciate that. Yesterday you're breaking down the new banners they had and the bullpens and the turf and all the nice facilities that fans don't get to use, but they get to watch their players use.
Yeah, there are a number of different upgrades, and you can watch that video. But it's nice. The new turf they put down, the area with the new wall where guys can throw plyo balls, I think was a great idea. I mean, guys used to throw plyo balls against the chain link fence or up against the wall of the facility here. Like, I think that was a really, really good idea. Whoever came up with that, they redid the batting cages, which are to my left right now, and have new doors on there. So little upgrades, but I think they go a long way here at the complex, and I think make life a little bit better for the players when they're out there doing work.
Real quick, because I know you got to get going. For anybody that's never been to spring training, give me a reason why it's so great to go out to spring training.
Oh man, I
know you have a long, lengthy list. I mean, but there's probably a lot of fans that want to get out there and go check out Peoria and see what it's like. I mean, you get a lot of access as a fan out there in spring training.
Yeah, I think it's a great time of year. I think for any fan that has not been here, it's worth the trip. It's just a unique time of year. It's very relaxed. I think you see the players in a very different environment than you do during the regular season. Your access is great. You see them up close. I would say it's probably as good of a chance to get an autograph as any during the course of the year. So that's part of it too. I just think the access, the environment, the ability to go on the backfields and watch these guys hit and do all these different drills. I just think it's very unique. It's very relaxed. And for any Padres fan would be a worthwhile drive.
Yeah, it's especially great for young baseball fans, young kids that get to see their because that's where it's the best because they take a lot of time to spend with the kids.
And the games too. Like, if you come out in, I feel like I have to say this, when you come out, if you come for a game here in Peoria or you're going to see him at another stadium here in Arizona on the quote unquote road, just make sure that you go to the backfields in the early part of the day first, because I think if you don't hit the backfields, you're missing kind of a key part of spring training. And in my opinion, the best part of spring training, which is seeing the guys in the backfield, seeing them work. Again, it's the only time of year where you'll just see Major League Baseball players do, drills you'll see a third grader do. I mean, it really is the only time of year, and it just brings you back to kind of the very early part of the game and quite frankly, the basics of the game. So it's cool, and it's just, for lack of a better word, very chill. That's what I'd say spring training is, and I think it's a good vibe. A chill and vibe. Chill vibe.
The chill vibe. Sammy Lev, chill vibe, Sammy Lev out at spring training. Love to hear it.
I'm trying.
Hey, you know what?
I'm trying. I'll tell you what, I'm here for 2 days. It's so dry. I don't know if anybody can hear it in my voice. It's just dry.
It's dry heat, man.
Here.
I lived in Tucson for a year. It's just it's a little bit different
really
out there.
Feel it. I can already
but
feel
I tell you what, springtime in Arizona is great. So it's some of the best. That's some of the best weather that Arizona gets. It's not too hot yet.
Oh yeah,
it's beautiful.
Well, I was here in early August last year, and it was 120.
Yeah,
so it is not bad. No, the temperature is great. The temperature is great. It's just dry.
It's dry. It's a lot different than living by the coast.
I can just talking right now feel it, the dryness.
Yeah. Hey, you know what, Sam? Guy spends too much time in OB and by the beach, and now he goes out to the desert. He gets dried out a little bit. You're like a dried out sponge.
I'm used to that ocean breeze.
Somebody go out. Somebody bring some ocean water to Sammy Lev out in spring training. He's got to soak it all up. He's got to soak it all up. All right, Sam. Appreciate the time, man. We'll talk to you in a couple of days.
All right, guys. See ya. Thanks.
Sam Levitt, live from Peoria, Arizona. He's dry, Frank. He's dry.
Yeah, that's about right.
We got to take a break. When we come back, we'll kind of break down some of the stuff that Sammy Lev said. We'll continue our Padres coverage here in the 11 o'clock hour. Braden Surprenant Show, San Diego's number one sports station, 97 through the Fan. Time for our UCSD Tritons sports update of the week. He's Frank Marchese. I'm Braden Surprenant from the Braden Surprenant Show, which you can listen to every single day on 97 through the Fan from 10 to 2. Be sure to follow us for more content. Hit the subscribe button so all you Triton fans out there can get your weekly updates on the sports. If you haven't done so already, it's in the it's down below. You can just hit subscribe next to the name of the YouTube page. If not, go to youtube.com/@B_SURP for B Serp. Follow me on social media at the same handle, and follow Frank Marchese at Frank Z. Sorry, Frank MZ. Frank Marks. Frank Marks. F Marks.
FMARKZ324.
F Marks 324. F Marks 324. Which I knew the thing was. I didn't know. Like, I forgot the little play on words that you had before.
Yes.
Marchese.
Yes.
Which is creative. Let's get to the Tritons update, if you will. Starting with men's basketball, they're starting to slip even more. When we first started doing these updates, they were right there, a game out of first place. Now they sit at 6-7, coming off of a 72-67 loss at Hawaii.
Yeah, that game against Hawaii was not a great showing. Another deep hole that they dug. We talk about it with the Toreros men's team. Wasn't quite that bad. 11-0 was still pretty bad against the Hawaii team. Really turned it around, though. Tom Beatty led with 14 points. Bull danged it. And Alex Shakin both had 11. So they started to claw back in, but it was ultimately not enough.
Now for UCSD, the question is, can they turn some of these close road losses into wins down the stretch of Big West play? And they're going to have to if they want to get a better seed in the Big West tournament. Now, the Big West tournament's not as extreme as the West Coast Conference tournament. It's more of a traditional looking tournament, which I think the West Coast Conference is going back to once Gonzaga leaves the conference, but we'll see how that plays out. As for the women's basketball team, again, another women's basketball team in town doing a lot of damage. They're 17-6 on the year and 12-1 in Big West play after beating Hawaii 59-46 to extend their win streak to 5 games.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they've done a fantastic job. Aaron Condren, 12 points, 5 boards, 3 blocks. Both Rose and Condren are dominating right now. Tritons now have the best Division I start in program history, 12-1, 17-6 overall. Both the men's and the women's this week, Thursday and Saturday, will both be playing UC Davis and UC Riverside. The women will be on the road. The men will be at Lion Tree Arena.
Michaela Rose had a program record 9 steals in the win against Hawaii, where Rose and Condren have both won the UCSD Athletes of the Week. So another good showing by the UCSD women's basketball team. As for baseball, in a very competitive Big West Conference, they will start up this weekend, just like everybody else is in college baseball. J.C. Allen and Michael Crossland have been named to the Big West preseason coaches team, but they have been picked, the Tritons have, to finish 6th in the preseason poll and what should be a very competitive Big West Conference this year.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's not going to get off to an easy start for the Tritons either, opening up against UCLA at UCLA. So a very, very tough stretch for UC San Diego right off the get-go.
Yeah, they got UCLA February 13th to the 15th, 3-game series up in Los Angeles. And then they're part of the Tony Gwynn Legacy Tournament. San Diego State, UCSD, and USD all host. The schedules are relatively the same for all 3 teams because of the teams that are coming to town, and you don't want to play teams of your conference and yada, 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 yada. But UCSD will play over the course of February 19th to the 22nd. They're going to be playing BYU. They're going to be playing Utah. They're going to be playing Creighton. They play Western Michigan. And then the following Tuesday after that weekend, they're going to play USD at home too, get a little local flair as well. So interesting start to the season for the Tritons in baseball, but a very highly contested start to the season for 17 newcomers joining the 2026 roster, including 10 freshmen and 5 transfers. So a lot of new faces, but that's been the common scene for all the teams in town that we've talked about here in college baseball.
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of new names coming in. We spoke before about San Diego State having 19 players come in, but a lot of recruited players coming into UCSD, which is the big difference.
In softball, they have already gotten underway. They started last weekend. Freshman Bella Sedembro named the Big West Freshman of the Week. She had 7 shutout innings in the circle and a win and a save in the La Jolla Invitational. Tritons finished the opening week 4-1. Best start in Division I for them in Division I. Lauren Roselle and Sedembro combined for a near no-hitter versus St. Louis, a 3-0 victory. Upcoming, they got Utah Tech on Thursday, and then over the weekend, they're going to have Weber State, Boise State, Farley Dickinson, Colorado State, Friday through Saturday as part of these early season tournaments for softball. But good to see that UCSD has also gotten off to a good start. Just 11:26. It'll be a quick one here. Kind of talking about what we were discussing with Sam Levitt. It's great to have spring training back, baseball back. I mean, they haven't played games yet, right? But they got just guys doing drills, throwing bullpens. This is going to suffice for the rest of the week. And then Monday, I will be, all right, time to start playing. Let's start doing something else. That's kind of how it's going to be.
Time to start playing games. All right.
You know what?
Week into spring training games. All right. Regular season time. Let's go.
I have to say this because I think it's very important. And Sam brought it up, and it's true. Like the first day of spring training of pitchers and catchers reporting, you get all this injury news. And people go like, well, what's everybody getting hurt? What's going on? And it's all the news of guys getting hurt during the offseason. And then they officially announce it, right? I mean, it's been quiet. But the Padres right now have been blessed with not having to announce any of that stuff. In fact, it's all been really positive news. They have Ethan Salas doing
why do you
drills.
say things like that?
I knocked on the wood.
I understand that, but why do you even tempt fate?
Because you have to talk. Whatever I say has no impact on the world. If that was the case, then I would have tons of money and you would never see me. I'd be betting on stuff.
I wouldn't be rich. I wouldn't say if I was rich, but there would be signs.
There would be signs. TC would have an insane budget for their football program. There would be signs. There would be signs if I made it rich. The Chargers would be back in San Diego. There'd be a lot of things. There'd be a brand new stadium down there and all that stuff. Anyway, I digress with that. But the good news is you haven't had a lot of, and you're going to get some. It's only a matter of time. But you would have, you have a positive start to the season. In terms of not having the injury news, because the Mets have lost Francisco Lindor for a long period of time. And the Diamondbacks today have lost Corbin Carroll for a long period of time. And Jackson Holliday for the Orioles has been lost for a long period of time, all with hamate bone injuries. Does everybody remember when Tommy Pham had a hamate bone injury? Not only was he out for a long time after he had surgery, it took him forever to get his power back. And the reality is, and Jeff Passan tweeted it out, when you look at this particular injury, and he does a full breakdown of this on Twitter, and this is what Jeff Passan had to say. For those unfamiliar, the hamate bone, which could cause Corbin Carroll, Francisco Lindor, and Jackson Holliday to miss opening day, is a small hook-shaped bone in the palm just underneath the pinky. That is particularly susceptible to breaking. While the recovery is typically 4 to 6 weeks, hitters who undergo the surgery to fix it often talk about how their power takes months to return. It's not like a soft tissue injury. The return timeline on hamates is fairly straightforward. The time to full health, however, can be longer. These are players that are not going to have major impacts on their teams this year, just because it's going to take them forever to get back to full strength with the hamate bone injury.
Yes, I agree. I'm sorry. I thought you were going there. But yeah, it's going to be a problem. And unfortunately, it's a lot of shortstops or big name players like Corbin Carroll and Jackson Holliday. Those are big. And of course, Francisco Lindor, who is having the surgery either today or tomorrow to fix that issue.
Yeah, that's also bad news. And here's the other thing. 2 are on teams that you're competing with for a playoff spot right now. It's a massive blow to them to start the season. Again, reasons to be optimistic for this year for the Padres.
Yeah,
Like, things like this happen. Now, the other thing, too, is you got to replace him on the World Baseball Classic roster, Corbin Carroll. There was a report about who could potentially take over that spot for Corbin Carroll. I wonder if Jackson Merrill doesn't want to do it. Because he's like not even like they're asking like James Wood right now. Do we think Jackson Merrill doesn't want to do the World Baseball Classic? Which I'm fine with. If he doesn't want to do it, I think that's fine.
It would be interesting.
It'd be cool to see him on there.
It would be. He also, I mean, his picture on Instagram perked up Padre fans the other day with his hand wrapped up, but just his knuckles. But
hey, man, he's doing some boxing training, maybe.
Yeah, could. Well, it was a picture with a girl. It wasn't it was like a posed for picture. It wasn't like after a workout.
Oh, stop leaning into too many things that you see on social media.
Oh no, I'm not saying it. I'm saying that
I'm talking to the fans about that. It's
exactly.
Just okay. What's up with the Cactus League lids?
Yeah,
everybody's got a cactus behind it.
Grapefruit League also has their own thing. By the way, I'm sorry. This is going to make it sound really bad, but the Mets have the best spring training hat in all of baseball.
Here we go.
Let me ask you a question. Are there any other teams that have their mascot's goofy face
Mr. Met
on the spring training hat?
I think all the spring training hats should be like that. All the spring training hats should just have the mascot on there.
Put the Friar on there.
I want to see Lucille on a hat.
Put Dinger on there. Oh my God, Lucille.
Lucille on there would be great.
Yes.
Okay, so the Grapefruit League, do they have it's all fruit? Is that a grapefruit or is that an orange?
It's the Grapefruit League.
I
what do you think they would put on?
It looks like an orange, though. Florida's got oranges.
It might.
And it is Major League Baseball, Frank. They could have done that by mistake. That would not surprise you. Would it surprise you?
They couldn't get the trademark for the grapefruit.
Yeah, so they got the orange instead. I have to agree, though. The Mets do have the best spring training hat.
Thank you very much.
Because not only is it goofy Mr. Met's face, it's Mr. Met wearing shades, looking like he's in the sun. He's got a smile on his face.
Bro's chilling.
That's great. That's a great lid. Honestly, the grapefruit kind of ruins it for him.
Yeah.
But I could see what they did. And then the Marlin, like he's like jumping away from the grapefruit. Some of them don't even make any sense. The Cactus League ones look better because they have the cactus like behind the logo, kind of, and the Grapefruit League hats, they're just kind of like oddly placed on their lid. Some of these hats are pretty cool though, like without. I don't know how I feel about the brown bill for the Pods. Gold hat and the brown, especially with the gold SD. I'd love to put the Friar on there.
Yeah, exactly.
Love that the Friar.
Have some fun with it. It's spring training.
We see the Friar with the sunglasses and stuff like that. The Friar's face with the sunglasses, with his giant sunglasses he has on a hat, I'd buy that.
Seriously, Rockies, why aren't you putting Dinger on there?
A Triceratops on the Rockies hat would be money.
Yeah, exactly. That would be the most merch you sell this year.
Bernie Brewer on the Brewers lid.
It's a spring training hat, guys. Have fun with it.
You got to like find the teams that don't have a mascot.
Put Mickey Mouse on the Angels one.
Yeah, they don't have a mascot, do they? The Angels don't have a mascot. They're not affiliated with Disney anymore, though. It's not a bad idea. You know what? The Pittsburgh Parrot needs to be on a hat.
Yes.
He's great. The Pittsburgh Parrot. Put Screech or whatever his name is, the Nationals mascot on a hat. I'd take Orbit on a hat. You kidding me? And then the Yankees could just do their lame NY because they don't have a mascot.
Because they're boring.
They are boring. I digress. All right. We did need to get to the last topic that we wanted to get to when it came to the Padres questions going into spring training. And it has a little bit to do with the fact that, there's some options out there. Spring bargains. Can they do it again? We'll answer that question when we come back on the Braden Surprenant Show. Setting us over at Sports Station 97 through the Fan. For the first time since 2014, the NHL has let players back in the Olympics, and that alone makes this the most important men's hockey tournament in over a decade. No more who's that guy rosters, no more watered down competition. This is best on best with the league's biggest stars finally getting their Olympic moment. Connor McDavid, Nathan McKinnon, Austin Matthews, Sidney Crosby, and yes, the Kachucks. This isn't just an Olympic tournament. This is the NHL reintroducing itself to the world.
Yes, it is, and it's very fun to see. And they're doing this, by the way. They're allowing these players to go to the Olympics in lieu of an All-Star game. So you're not going to get an All-Star game this year. You're not going to get another Four Nations tournament. These guys have committed themselves to the Olympics. So the NHL has shut itself down for a couple of weeks.
Yeah, and this tournament obviously matters. The NHL and its players have fought for years over Olympic participation. Owners hated shutting down the season. Players hated missing the biggest stage in sports. COVID killed it in 2022. Politics removed Russia in 2026. But after the Four Nations face-off last year lit a fuse under U.S. versus Canada, the league realized something. International hockey still hits different. This is about growing the game, but it's also about legacy. For Connor McDavid, for McKinnon, this is their first Olympics. For Crosby, it could be his last. That alone raises the stakes.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is absolutely huge. And yes, every single time you ask any player, whether it be in soccer, whether it be in baseball, basketball, whatever, when the front of your jersey doesn't say Lakers, when it doesn't say Yankees, when it doesn't say Padres, when it doesn't say Barcelona, it means more when it's your nation on the front of it. It makes you play that much harder. And that's exactly what the Four Nations was able to remind the NHL, is that it's not just that it hits different, it's that it means more to the players playing.
Now, the elephant in the room, of course, is no Russia. And for whatever, for all the reasons of why Russia is not competing, is a different conversation. But just from the on ice conversation, Russia's absence matters, period. I mean, you can go through the list of stars that are not playing in the Olympics because Russia's not in it. It makes it kind of technically best on most of the best, but it also means something else that's also important. The path is clearer than ever for U.S. or Canada to dominate.
Yeah, absolutely. That means no Kiprasov, no Nikita Kucherov, no Alexander Ovechkin, no Artemi Panarin in the All-Star game. So in the Olympics, pardon me. So that means, yeah, it is. It's kind of more or less the U.S. versus Russia, but we've seen Sweden be very U.S. versus Canada, but we've seen Sweden, we've seen Finland, we've seen Norway be able to play very, very well in these style of tournaments. So you can't overlook, especially those teams. And also Germany has a couple of pretty decent NHLers on their roster.
Yeah, this could be the last Olympics, though, played under the restrictions of not allowing Russia in the competition, which the door is already cracking open for Russia's return down the road, which makes this tournament even more pivotal for countries like the United States and Canada, who look to be on a collision course. Now, Canada, talented, experienced, but they have a goalie problem. Canada's roster is ridiculous. They have so many different names that you see in the NHL all the time. McDavid, McKinnon, Crosby, down the middle might be the best center trio ever assembled. Cale Marker might already be the best defenseman alive. They've got skill, snarl, and a championship pedigree everywhere. But the issue is they don't trust its goaltending.
No, and Cale Makar out front can't do everything. You have Jordan Binnington, who was unbelievable in the Four Nations tournament, but he has been unbelievable in the NHL this season. Darcy Kemper, Logan Thompson are upgrades, but compared to what the U.S. has, it's got nothing on Canada. Canada's got nothing on them.
Yeah, Canada's very much a soft spot in terms of the goalkeeping. If Canada loses, it's not because they didn't score, it's because they didn't get any saves. As for Team USA, this is the deepest team that they have ever had.
Yeah, absolutely. Matthew Tkachuk, Austin Matthews, Jack Eichel down the middle. You've got the Tkachuk brothers bringing chaos and confident, and boy, did they bring chaos in the Four Nations tournament. Elite puck-moving defensemen, Connor Hellebuck, Jake Ottinger, Jeremy Swayman in net is absolutely ridiculous. I mean, they've got some of the best goaltenders in the world right now. However, they did leave a couple of big names home.
Yeah, what are some of the names that they had left on the offensive side back in the States?
Yeah, Cole Caulfield, Jason Robertson those are big-time young players that unfortunately, because of how deep and how stacked this U.S. roster is, just unfortunately not able to make the trip.
Yeah, they picked a lot of defensive first choices, which asked the question, if the Americans trail late in a gold medal game, can they outscore Canada, or are they built more to just protect leads than to chase them? When could they meet? They're in separate groups, which makes the gold medal matchup possible but not guaranteed. Seeding does matter. Goal differential matters. In Group B, you got Finland and Sweden, who could scramble everything.
Mhm.
We've seen this movie before. In 2014, Canada and the United States met in the semifinals, not the final, and it sucked the air out of the tournament. The world wants USA versus Canada for gold. The format doesn't promise it.
No, it certainly doesn't. But the most important thing right now.
1140, 97 through the fan, broadcasting live from the Bill House Studios. You know how. We know how. Everybody knows how. Do you know Bill Howe? I know Bill Howe.
I do not know Bill Howe.
I thought he was coming to the studio one of these days.
I was going to say I was not a part of the marketing meeting where we all met him.
Oh. I was going to make a joke. I decided not to. I was going to make a joke at your expense. I decided
Go
not
ahead.
to. Did you get stuck in traffic again, Frank?
It's not my fault. I left.
Not my fault.
I left early. I left earlier than normal. It said I was going to be here by 9:35.
Okay.
And it was wrong.
It's technology's fault. Where's the accountability, man?
I did what I needed to do. I did what was needed, what was required of me to get here on time. It's not my fault that
you fell for it.
It's not my fault that people stopped to look at a freaking Dodge Charger that was off on the shoulder, way off on the shoulder, that was already taken care of by a cop. That's not my fault.
Okay.
I did what I needed to do.
Okay. Fair enough. Should have interrupted your traffic with the TCU game. We interrupt this broadcast to bring you important TCU news that they're playing Iowa State. Remember at 1 o'clock for us to listen at 1 o'clock for us to announce today's biggest fan for a chance to qualify for a night in our Odyssey suite at a future Padres game with all the fan staff. Register your name at 97throughthefansd.com/biggest fan in order to potentially have your name called. All right, let's get to what we kind of teased the last couple breaks. Dennis Lynn wrote an article, biggest questions facing the Padres going to spring training. Everybody has written their version of this. Talked about the ownership. We talked about that. Talked about A.J. Preller getting a contract extension. Is he going to? All that, the uncertainties, right, if you will. And I still think all those uncertainties don't really affect the actual club and what they do on the field. It might affect some money, might affect on whether or not they can address some future needs at the trade deadline. But other than that, the players are focused on playing. Now, spring bargains. Can they do it again? That's the other question that was asked in this article. Recent history of bargain success. In 2024, Jerickson Profar signed a $1 million deal, and he was a massive contributor to the Padres playoff push. 2025, Gavin Sheets, minor league deal. Chicago didn't want him anymore. Nick Pivetta, backloaded 4-year, $55 million deal. Both of those players had massive impacts for the Padres in the season and making the playoffs. And without those moves, they probably don't make the playoffs the last two seasons. That's a bold take, but that's a believable take, Frank. I don't necessarily know if the Padres make the playoffs in 2024 without Jerickson Profar, and I don't think they make the playoffs without Gavin Sheets or Nick Pivetta last year.
I would agree with that 100%, especially for last year. If they didn't have Nick Pivetta, when you get the news that Joe Musgrove is going down for the year with Tommy John surgery, when you see what happens to Michael King did not get off to the greatest start last year, and then he has his issue in Colorado. I mean, if Nick Pivetta is not there to anchor this team, whether Gavin Sheets is there or not, this is not a playoff team last year.
So the Padres still have needs. Starting pitching is number one to add to their depth, and number two is first base and DH. Can they find another bargain that will help them? Now, here's the deal. This is what you're looking at left. Available pitchers: Chris Bassett, Zach Gallen, Lucas Giolito, Zach Littell. Zach Gallen, according to Kevin Acee, sounds like he's not that guy, pal, because of a lot of different reasons. So it's Bassett, Giolito, or Littell. Are those players better than what you have currently in your depth? That was a question that was brought up yesterday in Kevin Acey's article. I think the answer is yes, but can they get good production out of one of those three guys at a decent price? That is the question. Now, in terms of bats, you look at some of the bats that are available. Ty France. Can you take a chance on Ty France again coming back? The Aztec for life. Would he be better playing in Southern California? Again, being back part of the Padres organization. Can he be a bargain move to help out this team? And can he platoon at first base with Gavin Sheets? Is he a guy that's going to complement Gavin Sheets as a right-handed first baseman? I mean, last year, in 444 at-bats, Ty France hit 257, drove in 52 runs, had 7 home runs, a 1 WAR. I don't necessarily know if he is the slugger against lefties that you're looking for, but he's the type of player you would have to take a chance on. Rhys Hoskins. I don't mind Rhys Hoskins. I think Rhys Hoskins would be a nice complementary piece to Gavin Sheets at first base. Rhys Hoskins not going to cost a lot. He had the smaller WAR than Ty France last year, but he had half the at-bats, had 12 home runs, hit 237. But you're looking for a player that can hit lefties. And again, he is a right-handed first baseman, and it can play a corner outfield spot. Nathaniel Lau, can you sign him? Can you get him off the market? I mean, Nick Castellanos is available potentially for the Padres because the Phillies wanted to trade him by the end of the week. He's owed $20 million. He's coming off of a negative WAR season last year, but he still hit 17 home runs. You know, is that a salary dump move for the Phillies? Can you get him for a decent price and it doesn't cost you a lot in terms of a trade? Is that somebody that you want? I mean, these are the options that you have for the Padres. All of them come with major question marks, Frank, and all of them come with a little bit of uncertainty of you got to take the risk if you're the Padres right now.
Yes, I agree. I don't know if starting pitching would be your best bet. Now it's going to cost you a pretty penny at the trade deadline to be able to get a starting pitcher, but I still think that's your best weight. Ty France and Rhys Hoskins, I think probably would be a better option right now if I were building this up, because I mean, you more or less have your top 4. You've got King, Pivetta, Musgrove, and Vasquez. That's set unless somebody gets hurt. After that, you've got McKenzie, you've got Waldron, you've got Sears. You may even have a guy like Johnny Brito because he came over as a starter, long relief type. Brian Hoeing, you could probably use him as a start as an opener to get you a couple of innings. So you have options that you can use as the 5th starter. You could do a 5th starter by committee for the first little bit of the season until someone finds a way. So I think the field and the hitting, I think, is your most pressing need right now. So if you're going to spend what little money you have left, I would go after the bat. I would go after the fielding and get yourself a genuine first baseman.
Yeah, I think they. I mean, you look at some of these guys' splits. Like, you know, Nick Castellanos, even though he's worked out at first base, I'm not interested. I'm not. He costs a lot of money, and to be honest with you, like, I don't know how much the Phillies are willing to eat, and he didn't do well against lefties last year.
I don't think being a good left-handed hitter is absolutely crucial. A hitter of left-handed pitching, I should say.
I think it is, because I think you need to complement Gavin Sheets.
But you got that with Miguel Andujar already.
Yeah, but you're adding depth.
No,
Andujar is not there to be a first baseman. Andujar is there to be a DH against left-handed pitching.
Yes.
You need a first baseman against left-handed pitching.
Yes.
Because I don't think Gavin Sheets is in a spot yet. I think you give him a chance, but I don't think he's in a spot yet to be an everyday first baseman against left-handed pitching. So if you want to, the strengths of Gavin Sheets and Miguel Andujar are only playing against lefties.
Yes.
And the strength of Sung Moon Song is playing against righties. And so I think if you add one more bat to this lineup, not an everyday first baseman, But a first baseman that tags lefties, I think you are set up for the most success because now you have Gavin Sheets can only have to worry about playing against right-handed pitching, which he does well against. And then you have a first baseman that only has to worry about playing against left-handed pitching and use that to your strengths. Now, you don't need one big-time first baseman with all this pop that plays every day that costs a lot of money. You're trying to, replenish the aggregate, if you will, of here's one guy that could do it against lefties. Here's one guy that could do it against righties. It opens up the DH spot, right, for other players, that need a day off. You can move other players around. I think it gives you more flexibility. To me, getting a guy that also doesn't hit lefties well, like Gavin Sheets, I think defeats the purpose. If that's the case, then I will just have Gavin Sheets play first base every day. So I would ideally like to have somebody that can hit lefties better. But if there's nothing like that left, then, there's nothing more you can do. But if you're starting to look at, Nick Castellanos is not really a first baseman. He costs a lot of money. It's going to cost you something. The Phillies aren't going to give him to you for free as much as they would like to try that. And you're forcing him into a position that he doesn't play after a year where he wasn't very good. And most of his success was against right-handers. You already have guys like that. So I think you cross him off the list. Rhys Hoskins has missed a lot of time, right? And again, it's all managing risk. It's the risk that you're willing to take. Rhys Hoskins, he's a good player, but again, he's another guy that hasn't done well against left-handed pitching. He's done okay, but he hasn't done well, and he's been hurt a handful of years. Now, when you look at Ty France, again, I don't know the numbers off the top of my head, but if you look at last year and how he did against lefties last year, it's going to be a very small sample size because he only had 400 at bats total last year. He was worse against lefties than he was against righties, and you have a lot of those guys already, right? So to me, you got to try to find somebody that's good against lefties. You got Miguel Andujar. That's why I think it would have been it would have been nice to have Paul Goldschmidt, because I know he's old, but he plays good defense and he only costs $4 million. That's what he ended up signing with the Yankees. I think the Padres gave their best effort to try to get him out of New York. But if you're a guy like Paul Goldschmidt and you're 37 years old, why pack up and move one more time for your final year when you could stay in a place that's already going to be competitive and is a place that you played last year? So I get that. Now, so I looked at France. I looked at Hoskins. The last guy I didn't look up is Nathaniel Lau in terms of his numbers. But to me, whoever can hit lefties the best is probably the guy that I would favor the most of the Padres potentially employing. Nathaniel Lau is listed in this article against left-handed pitching in his career. It's slightly less than it was against righties. He's hitting 258 against left-handers. It's not much better than what he does already against righties. So I think maybe that ship has sailed. And then if that's the case, all of their numbers, though, when you look at all their numbers, they're relatively the same. So if you want to have Ty France back, who's an Aztec who played here in a little bit of time, a Rhys Hoskins that has a little bit of injury prone, Nathaniel Lau, who's a lefty anyway. So I just rule him out off the top. Unless he's the last guy left. I think you need a right-handed hitting first baseman to complement a left-handed hitting Gavin Sheets. And I always start to look at, Ty France, and I start to look at Rhys Hoskins as your answers right now for potentially complementing Gavin Sheets. And I looked at Rhys's career numbers against lefties. I don't know if I looked at his numbers last year. His sample size is going to be really small just because, again, he had less at-bats than Ty France had. He had 102 plate appearances against lefties last year, and Rhys Hoskins had 221. It might be Ty France. I think I've found the winner. I think it might be Ty France. That to me would be the fit in terms of the names that were listed in this article that could potentially help. But I think it goes back to one, how big it was for the Padres to get Miguel Andujar, who, by the way, officially signed today. That was announced. It's now official.
Yeah, I think we kind of assumed that he may not have been in the country to sign a contract until now.
Well, I don't know that.
No, that's just pure assumption. I don't know.
They just, Padres literally seconds ago put out their camp roster for February 11th. Miguel Andujar is now on it. So that's kind of where they're hunting right now. That's where you're looking for bats. That's why I talked about why great it was that Miguel Andujar signed with the Padres and how Paul Goldschmidt was a kind of a missed opportunity. We talked about National League lineups going in opening day yesterday. We'll talk about the American League in the next hour.
It's time to fire it up. From the beaches to the ballparks, from the Gaslamp to North County, no one knows America's finest city like he does.
You can't just punt on a Manny Machado prime year.
He's a fourth-generation San Diegan, born and raised in the heart of this community. Passionate, opinionated, and always bringing you the real talk on your teams, your city, and everything in between.
Braden totally knows his stuff. He's ready for the next step. That guy is good.
Live and local, it's the Braden Surprenant Show.
But I think Braden's one of the up-and-coming young stars in the media game in San Diego.
Now, here's your host, Braden Surprenant.
New lunchtime hour on 97.3 The Fan. The Braden Surprenant Show, live and local each every day from 10 to 2 on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. We're going to get to some opening day outlooks of the American League and the rotations and starting lineups that you're expected to see by opening day. And again, injuries are happening and all these other things are going on throughout Major League Baseball, which will change this. But as soon as you get pitchers and catchers back, you feel like opening day's like just around the corner. But we still got to get the position players out there. We got to get spring training games started. At least we get to be entertained with the World Baseball Classic this year. And as you wait, you got the Olympics going on as well. We'll get an update on that in the 1 o'clock hour. Let's dive into some of this stuff. But first, we do want to get to the sports thread that we missed earlier in the last segment because we were diving into some Padres talk. What's going on in sports that's not the Padres or local San Diego FC, and it's trending in the sports world? It's time for today's sports thread.
You know that group chat? The one that's always blowing up with the biggest sports takes, debates, and breaking news?
You got barbecue back there, and you didn't invite me?
Yeah, we've got that too. Welcome to the Sports Thread, where we break down the top 5 stories in sports, just like you would with your crew.
Oh, no! Disaster! What a bad idea!
No filters, no silence, just real talk. Brought to you by QC Kinetics. Stop sitting on the sidelines. QC Kinetics gets you back in the game without surgery. To learn how, visit QCkinetics.com.
All right, Frank, what we got today?
All righty. So we got basically a good for you story here to start off.
Number 1.
Charles Bediako.
Good for me or good for this person?
Good for college basketball.
All right. Hey.
Charles Bediako's attempt to extend his college basketball career was halted after an Alabama circuit judge denied his request for a preliminary injunction, effectively ending his season with the Crimson Tide. The ruling side,
Bummer.
Yeah, exactly. The ruling side
so
with the
sad right now.
with the NCAA, which argued Bediako became ineligible when he left Alabama for the 23 NBA draft, signed a 2-way contract, and spent 3 seasons in the G League. Judge Daniel Pruitt said Bediako had no reasonable expectation of regaining eligibility and failed to show irreparable harm or a strong chance of success on his antitrust claims. While the decision is a legal win for the NCAA, it has reignited debate over inconsistent eligibility rulings, especially as other players with professional experience, particularly international prospects, have been cleared to return to college basketball. Is the NCAA drawing a necessary line to protect college sports, or does the Bediako ruling expose real inconsistencies that make the eligibility system feel arbitrary and unfair?
I think, well, here's the deal. They need to be able to make real rules of, and here's the thing. They have to make the rules applicable. Like, they have to be able to apply these rules to international players as well. Like, Major League Baseball fails to do that because there's a different path for players internationally than players in the United States. Players in the United States get drafted. They don't have an international draft, and players internationally can sign with whoever they want, right? I mean, so there's different rules in that, and baseball needs to fix that. But for college, they need to redo all their rules and go, all right, this is what is required for you to be allowed to play college athletics, and if you don't like it, go home. But here's the other problem. they're losing all the lawsuits. That's why they don't want to come up with rules and it just depends on what judge. This judge says he can. This judge says he can't. This judge says she can. This judge says she can't. I mean, there's too much of that. There's no, you need to get Congress involved. They're busy dealing with other problems right now that are probably more pressing and matter more to our country than just whether or not a 25-year-old grown man can play college sports and make money. So this is the problems that they had when they just allowed guys to get paid and allowed athletes to get paid without establishing any rules, and they reap what they sow. And here's the other clog of that. Anybody that decided to leave to chase the bag, go to pro, and didn't make it because you're not freaking good enough, you weep what you're sow too. It's time to start being frank, not Marchese, but being real with kids. It is. And we don't do it as a society. We don't do it to children when it comes to the dreams of being a professional athlete. It is time to start being real with parents, and it's time to start being real with kids and stop using them to make money. But they won't, because that's what club coaches do, and that's what club organizations do. It's if you play for me, I'm going to get you recruited, make you all this money, and then when the kid doesn't pan out, it's he didn't do what he was supposed to do. Enough. It starts at the lower levels. It's now gotten to the higher levels. This is opening up a gigantic can of what has been a problem in youth sports for so long that has led to high school sports, that has now led to college sports. There's no, hey, Johnny, I hate to tell you, buddy, you're not good enough to play at the highest level. And you're never going to be good enough to play at the highest level. And you're not going to get money. It's time to go to school. Nobody has that conversation with kids. But the reality is you have to, because now we have all of these guys ruining it for future high school players because they weren't good enough to be a professional athlete and they want their money now. It's you know what? You didn't make it to the level that makes the money. I'm sorry to tell you, it's over, big dog. You probably should have went to class. You probably should have planned for your future, because even if you did make it in the pros, it's a short time. It's just there's no accountability anywhere, and this is the problem that we've created. I could continue talking about that for hours.
I mean,
but the reality is, once you leave, you can't come back. Put rules in place. There needs to be rules. This is out of hand, and stop having professionals play college athletics. Because guess what? You know who's getting affected now? All the high school kids that don't have any spot to play in college because it's all backloaded by the Diego Pavias of the world.
My only exception for college eligibility would have been for players who were affected by COVID. And that's almost done. We're almost out of that realm. That is the only exception that I would have made for eligibility to give somebody another year, because that was nothing of your control.
Yeah, that's fine. That they did that, but now there's the abusers. I mean, there's a player right now that's getting his 9th year of eligibility, and he's not the first one. Give it a rest. The dream is over, my guy. The dream is over.
But that's exactly what I thought as well. Is brother, you went pro. You declared for the draft,
and
you've been pro
enough
for 3 years. What made you think that you were going to come back to college?
You're not good enough. It's fine. Not everybody on the planet is supposed to be a professional athlete. The dream is over. Go get a job. I can't do this anymore. It's utterly ridiculous. The whole he's good enough to play. It's over. Why don't they open up the eligibility for high school?
Yeah.
Start paying you can pay high school kids. Just wait for that to open up. Just
Lovely.
wait for the craziness of that. It's this guy's like a 25-year-old man. He's playing with 14-year-olds because he can make money doing this.
You're crushing dreams in the chat.
I just crushed Johnny's dream. Dude, you know what? The pro softball tour is not coming by. Scouts ain't walking through those doors. It's over. The dream is over.
We'll do a quick one here. LeBron James' historic All-NBA streak is officially over after he will be ruled out against the Spurs. After he was ruled out against the Spurs with left foot arthritis, pushing him past the 65 game limit. Yeah, pushing him past the 65-game limit required for postseason awards. It is the first time in 21 seasons that LeBron will not be All-NBA eligible, as the Lakers were also without Luka Doncic, Austin Reeves, and Marcus Smart in a severely undermanned night. Lakers coach J.J. Redick questioned whether the game's played threshold should be guidance rather than a strict rule, while Spurs officials supported the rule's intent but acknowledged it can unfairly impact elite seasons cut short by injury. Should the NBA rethink the hard 65-game requirement after LeBron's streak ended, or is this exactly the kind of tough league standards that need to be protected to value awards?
Why do we have to keep changing rules just for certain people? We're changing rules again. I mean, what's the point? Why don't we just this goes back to the whole award thing. It's a waste of my time. Awards are a waste of my time for some of this stuff. It's like, really?
That's why I said this was going to be a quick one.
Number 3.
It's like, oh, LeBron can't be all NBA because he didn't play at all this year. We should make it like where you just have to play a game or two and you can be all NBA. What are we doing? What is this? Everybody gets a trophy attitude that we've instilled the last 25 years.
And it's not kids this time. It's actually the senior of the league.
Yeah, because when they were kids, everybody got a trophy.
The Pro Football Hall of Fame, another topic you love discussing, is considering
on a roll right now.
Is considering tweaks to its voting panel and process after widespread backlash over Bill Belichick missing out on the 2026 class. Though Hall president Jim Porter stressed any changes wouldn't be made solely because of that decision. Potential adjustments include returning to in-person voting, holding the vote closer to the NFL honors reveal to limit leaks, and possibly disciplining and or replacing voters who violate rules or fail to vote for the, quote, most deserving candidate. Porter pushed back on the idea of separating coaches from senior players. Defending the current system as Belichick's omission marked a third straight year without a coach being inducted and reignited debate over whether or not the rules now make it too hard for obvious candidates to get in. Did the Hall of Fame voting process fail if a coach like Bill Belichick be left out, or is the outrage proof that voters, not the rules, are the real problem?
System did fail. The guy's won the most Super Bowls out of any coach, right? Am I missing something here? He's won 7 Super Bowls. I mean, if he doesn't make it on a first ballot, who does?
Yeah.
We already talked about this. Yeah, the system failed him for sure. I mean, the fact that it was like, we gotta vote for some of these guys that have been on the thing for a long time. We can't stop it. Couple of things. Like, rearrange it so like coaches are going against coaches and players are going against players and executives are going against executives. Make different wings of the Hall of Fame. You can be a Hall of Fame executive and not you know what I'm saying? Do that. And then make every vote public after a week or so after what do you got to hide? If you're a voter, have some confidence in why you're voting for X, Y, Z and defend it. It's too sneaky. It's BS. Stop being sneaky about it.
Did you see what John Heyman posted about the MLB voting for the Hall of Fame?
He talks about how they all released their deal.
He said 83% of us released our Hall of Fame ballots. They may have been bad, but at least we owned up to them.
You know what? I believe it. I'm on board with that. I'm 100% on board with that.
It's amazing.
Number 4.
All right. Do you want to stay in the NFL or do you want to go with golf here?
Well, it's just, natural transition, stay in the NFL.
Okay. With new head coaches in place, both the Miami Dolphins and the Arizona Cardinals are exploring options to trade their starting quarterbacks. Tua Tagovailoa and Kyler Murray, though massive contracts complicate the deals. Miami is willing to part ways, is to pay down part of Tagovailoa's 4-year, $212 million extension, but guaranteed money and a potential $99 million dead cap hit makes the move difficult. Arizona faces similar issues with Murray, though trading him would create significant cap savings compared to just outright releasing him. Several quarterback-needy teams could be interested, but financial realities may limit real options as both franchises weigh clean slates at the most important position. Which quarterback is more realistic to move this offseason, Tagovailoa or Murray? And would you actually want either contract if you are a QB needy team?
I think you're better off trying to go get a rookie quarterback and building around him. I think you're better off if you're a team that needs a quarterback, building in the draft like the Niners did, building out your offense and your defense, and then drafting a guy in 4 years and trying to win with a rookie contract. I think you're better off with that. I mean, once your quarterback gets to a certain age, it's just different. Both are very much injury prone, and they're both kind of the same. Like Tua Tagovailoa's had all the concussions, which is a serious thing. Kyler Murray can't make it through a year either. He's tiny. He gets blasted. It's just his body can't keep up with the way that he plays and the style of play that he has. So I guess if I had to pick between the two, I'd probably rather have Kyler Murray. You could probably get more out of him than Tua. But good organizations don't make moves like that.
Exactly right.
They don't. They don't make moves like that. Bad organizations do. Maybe the Browns will trade for both of them.
That being said, then there's the Jets.
And then there's the Jets. Love to see
Number 5.
Kyler Murray can go be a Jet. How about him and Tua both on the Jets that can compete for a spot? Something the Jets would do.
Fantastic.
And Justin Fields will win the spot.
Trade for two of the highest paid quarterbacks in the league and have the guy you already had win the spot. That's great. Charlie Woods, son of Tiger Woods, has verbally committed to play golf at Florida State as part of the 2027 recruiting class after a rapid rise in junior golf. The Benjamin School standout jumped to number 21 in the AJGA, those are letters, rankings following his first win last spring and added strong finishes in several elite junior events, plus a key role in a Florida high school state title. By choosing Florida State, Woods charted a different college path than his father, while joining a seminal program with a deep pedigree of top-tier talent and recent national success. How much should Charlie Woods' college choice be viewed as a reflection of his own game and fit, and how much pressure will come carrying the Woods name at a major program like Florida State?
It'd probably be more pressure if he went to Stanford or Tiger went. It just adds to the ACC rivalry of Stanford and Florida State. How about that?
Legendary rivalry.
Yeah. How about that? I don't know. It's college golf. I'm not that into college golf.
By the way,
I know a lot of great golfers went through the college ranks and everything like that.
The
Good for Charlie Woods.
The first time I have ever seen a committed graphic for a golfer.
That's
never before have I seen a committed graphic for a golfer.
I have. Because like TCU Athletics will retweet like the golf account. The golf account's going to put out committed, right? So like, I'm sure Florida State put on their main athletic page though.
Yeah, I didn't see that from them. I saw that from, I believe it was on
3 or something like that. Yeah, some recruiting site. Anyway,
but even then, I mean that's impressive. You got a golf committed graphic.
It's not every day Tiger Woods' son commits to a school, and I will believe when I see it when he's enrolled, because just like everybody else, I'm sure he could decommit and not go and all this other stuff.
Good news is though,
means nothing to me.
Good news though,
beyond blessed.
There is no NCAA golf game, so we don't have to worry too much about NIL.
I'm sure he's getting NIL.
I'm sure he is as well. I'm just we don't have to be too concerned about it because there's no game.
I'm so done with the high school recruiting stuff. Beyond blessed to receive. Nobody cares, dude. Yeah,
I'm beyond
committed.
Blessed to have this
I am
made about
100% committed. No, you're not. You're 100% committed until somebody comes in with a better offer, and then you decommit, and then you commit to that school. There's nothing. I don't care. I want that phase of social media to go away.
Could you be just a touch more pessimistic?
Just the college stuff is annoying to me. You're like, oh, we signed this guy. Did you?
You're starting to sound like me.
Did you? Did you sign this guy? Did you? Until he's wearing the uniform of the school in a game, I'll believe it when I see it. All right, let's talk about the American League when we come back. We'll dive into what some hot takes are for the American League teams like we did with the National League yesterday. As we preview Major League Baseball, pitchers and catchers officially reporting yesterday. Baseball is back. This was a week that perfectly captured where the University of San Diego is right now. We're now talking about the San Diego Toreros as part of our updates for the week on the Braden Surprenant Show. He's Frank Marchese. I'm Braden Surprenant. On one hand, frustration, inconsistency, and tough losses in men's basketball. On the other, breakthrough performances, records falling, and young stars announcing themselves on the women's side. And even a great softball win that shows how teams learn to close games. So the question becomes, which direction defines USD right now, the growing pains or the growth? Men's basketball, team still searching. Saturday night at LMU summed up the Toro season in 6 minutes. They were down 17-0 before you even get settled in your seat, forced to chase the game the rest of the night, and ended up losing by 20 points, 83-63.
Yeah, fighting from underneath you can only do for so long. Even though you did have a good second half, shot 60% from the field in the second half. You held LMU to only 5 made threes. Actually matched the Lions shot for shot at halftime. But when you spot them 17 points and you're fighting from underneath all night long, it does not make a night easy for you.
You're not going to win a lot of West Coast Conference games doing that either.
Not going to win any games doing that.
The bright spots, of course, Dominic Ford, the grad transfer, led the team with 14 points, 6 rebounds. Freshman Brandon Benjamin playing in his hometown, 5 for 5 from the floor, +6 in the plus-minus in just 13 minutes. Real glimpse of what the future could potentially be. But the reality is for San Diego now, you went into this game knowing that the teams you're competing with for extra seeding spots in the West Coast Conference tournament that we've talked about on previous updates were playing the top 3 teams in conference. They were playing Santa Clara. They were playing St. Mary's. They were playing Gonzaga, and they all lost to the top 3, and a win would have put you right in the thick of things where you could still be available for a Sunday bye in the West Coast Conference tournament for that tough weekend. But right now, you got to play in the play-in game on a Thursday, and that's something you really don't want to be in. They could still play their way out of it, but they sit at 4-9 in conference. They're the bottom of a crowded West Coast Conference middle tier, and now comes a critical stretch. 3-game homestand, which starts Wednesday against the team that you thought was going to be an easy victory against. Or not easy, because there's always difficult in conference play, but one that you would chalk up as a win against LMU. You lose by 20, and now a team in Portland that's red hot after they knocked off Gonzaga at home and had one of the biggest upsets of the season.
Yeah, and Portland, that is a huge game now coming up, especially after them beating Gonzaga. I mean, this is your last real opportunity to start building momentum before the conference tournament begins, as March is only getting closer as every second passes.
This men's team competes, but it doesn't dictate games. I mean, too often they have slow starts. They play uphill. They let opponents control tempo and confidence. Talent flashes are there, but the consistency isn't. And the late comebacks, it's tough when you dig yourself into a big hole. As for the women's basketball team, future is loud. Let's flip the script, because USD women's basketball had a pretty big week, statement week. I mean, they lost the game to Washington State on Thursday, but they had a huge performance at Olivia Owens. They lost in the final possession, but she ends up winning the West Coast Conference Freshman Player of the Week award. 31 points, 11 rebounds, 6 assists last Thursday against Washington State, followed by a 20-point, 13-rebound performance and 7 assists for Seattle U. One of the best individual weeks by a Torero freshman ever.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's men's or women's to have 51 points, 24 rebounds, and 13 assists over a 2-game stretch. That is absolutely massive for anyone, men's or women's, in Division I college basketball.
And Saturday's win versus Seattle U, well, that was a 71-54 victory, a comeback victory for the Toreros, who got off to a tough start. They avenged the loss that they had at Seattle earlier in the year, Seattle's only conference win, but they got a program record 63 rebounds. They held Seattle to 19% shooting in the second half, and Eva Roos, 20 points, 18 rebounds, and her 4th double-double of the season. By the way, those 18 rebounds in the contest against Seattle puts her 8th all-time for most rebounds in a single game, and it's tied with a lot of alumni that were actually in attendance on Saturday. Pretty cool and fun story.
Yeah, that is absolutely awesome. And again, I mean, that's the good side of it on the personal side. The team side of it, though, is there's still a very young physical team. They're learning how to play together. Still 3-10 in the conference. They've got Gonzaga coming up. I mean, this is a learning experience, a gelling year, if you will, for the Lady Toreros.
USC women's basketball will play Gonzaga on Thursday. In softball, they had a fun weekend to get things started, and their last game was a pretty important one. They were down 2-0 against Cal Poly. They had a 3-run fourth inning. Kelsey Tadlock shut the door in the circle, a 3-2 victory for the Toreros over the Mustangs. And that's a team that showed that they don't panic, get timely hits, know how to finish. And they got off to a pretty good start this weekend for the softball team. They opened at home this week, which is worth studios. We know how. A little bit of a rainy Wednesday in America's finest city. We got, I just saw we got college baseball starting this week. Starts Friday. I bet you there's probably a team or two that are playing on Thursday, but it sounds like I think opening day is Friday for everybody in college baseball. Tennessee just unveiled their brand new upgrades, their stadium. That thing looks better than most minor league stadiums. In fact, the Tennessee Smokies moved to Knoxville and became the Knoxville Smokies, and I think the Volunteers have a better stadium than the new one that the Smokies have. You're a high school player. Why would you ever go to the draft? You can go to college, make just as much money as they give you in the MLB draft. You get everything taken care of. You don't have to buy your own house. And you get to travel and way better luxury, play in better ballparks. I mean,
where did
shoot? Huh?
Where'd you see it?
I saw it on Twitter. I sent it to you.
Oh,
it looks amazing. Looks amazing.
Oh, I'm seeing it now.
833-288-973, 833-288-973. Isn't that huge?
Jesus.
You want to throw it on the screen real quick?
Yeah, I'll show the pan video that I just saw.
Yeah, that's the one I think that's the one I sent you. It's pretty remarkable. I mean, it's a college baseball stadium. Look at the suites up there. That's better than like that. They have a better facility. Do they have a better facility than the Oklahoma A's right now?
Brother, the Long Island Ducks have a better facility than the.
I mean, it's a nice AAA stadium where Oklahoma plays. I mean, this is like in comparison to that. I think it's better. I think that they had a better stadium than what the Rays played in.
Yeah,
I'll tell you that. All right, so here's a look at the for everybody on YouTube of the new stadium for Tennessee. I think it's massive for a college baseball stadium. Plus, you got the out there, you can't see it that clearly, but out there in left field are also suites. The house that Tony V built.
That's
Instead
wild.
of being there and getting paid millions of dollars to be the head coach of Tennessee, the guy's going to go take on the MLB deal. And then when he gets fired in a couple of years, I don't think he's going back to Tennessee. It's a risk he takes. But you know what? That's the field being turf kind of stinks, but
that's ridiculous.
Isn't that awesome?
It's unbelievable.
It's unbelievable. Totally unbelievable. One, I think Braden is upset the high school kids are getting easily influenced by NIL. No, the high school thing is crazy. It's gotten to a lot of kids that haven't really, accomplished anything at a high level. Just the posts that you get. I mean, did you see Loyola High School? The Loyola Cubs? They just, for football, this is according to Eric Sottenheimer up there at the LA Times. They added a general manager position to the football program in high school. What are we doing?
Brother.
What are we doing? I mean, you get like posts now on social media about kids committing to schools and transferring, and after long thought out conversations with my family and a lot of meditating, I've decided to transfer out of my high school to go to that. It's just a bright move for me. Nobody cares, dude. Just transfer like a normal kid. I don't get it. I don't understand. I don't get it.
Brother, just be normal for 5 seconds.
I feel, see, this is where I got on my soapbox earlier today in this hour about the college stuff. It's just, it's so forced for social media about it's not about them playing sports. It's about look at me at social media. It's an era that we've created as a society. That's terrible in my opinion. Buying into the club sports more than a high school sports. Like, oh, I got to go play club because this club coach tells me that he can get me recruited. I got news for you. And I've had this conversation before. People say it's pessimistic. The only thing getting a kid recruited to college is their genetics, their height, their size, their weight, their strength, that is especially in male sports. I mean, you could say everything you want about this kid's he works hard and all that other stuff. 5'4", you got to be like 6 feet tall to play at a D1 level. It's so hard to make it to D1. And some of the kids that I coached think that they are at a level where they can play in the SEC. I'm like, bro, dude, San Diego State offered you should take that right now. They get disappointed that they got to go, Cal Poly. It's it's still a D1 school. You know how difficult it is to play at a D1 school? We had that. What was that? There was the quote, 20% of parents of high school athletics, of high school athletes think their kid is going to D1. And what was the percentage actually? Less than 10%? Yeah. It's 5%. We just don't have that realistic thinking anymore with some of these situations. And I can't believe the amount of money parents spend in club and personal coaching thinking that this person is going to get them recruited to college. No. Mom and dad, how tall you are and how big your kid can get, that's what's going to get your kid recruited to college. Let them play the high school sport. Stop missing high school sports to go play club practice. Of course, the club coach wants you to play year-round. Why? It's their paycheck. It's their paycheck. Come on. The club team is not getting your kid recruited. The kid's work ethic, as one of the people in the chat has said, and their genetics is getting them recruited. That's what it is. I see it all the time. I got a handful of great athletes that I get to coach that are 3 inches too small. I mean, you could talk. How about this? I remember he's on the Aztecs now, but I remember when Tana Latuli was in high school, begging San Diego State to take him. This is previous regime, right? So it's not Sean Lewis. Begging San Diego. This guy can help you. He was 1 inch too small for them. So he goes to Army, and he balls out at Army, and then he gets in the transfer portal. He ends up back at San Diego State anyway, but this is the conversation that you have with college coaches. It's he's too small. What do you mean he's too small? He's 6'1". No, he's too small. We need somebody bigger. This guy's a phenomenal player, a great student, works his ass off, great player, all around great. He's a great high school player. He's not a college player. We have these conversations all the time. I'm just saying, some people just that's the reality of the situation for college athletics. And then these same kids think that their parents do. If I spend this kind of money, I could get this kid to that level. It's not the case. It's not. That's just the reality. And people don't want to hear that, but it is. That's why I tell every kid that I coach, play as many sports as you possibly can in high school. Makes you well-rounded. Enjoy the time with your high school friends. Play for your high school. Bring some fun back to sports. And I know these college coaches don't like doing the club stuff either. It's too much. And I get it. If you don't play, and soccer was the first one to start this. All of the good soccer players at my high school in high school never played for high school because their club, they had to play club. It was all about club. And it's okay, cool. Got you to the college level maybe, but then after that, it was it. Wouldn't you rather play for your high school team? I mean, we're taken away from the high school stuff. I mean, I get it. If you only play one sport, you're really good at that sport, and You're going to go to a high level and you're a D1 player and it doesn't affect your other sports, fine. I understand that. I understand maybe you're playing in some club games and missing some practice is fine. But we are in a situation now where there are people there. I mean, there are kids that miss high school games to go to club practice. I don't understand. We are missing the plot. We are missing the plot. 833-288-973, 833-288-973. It sucks. There's so much. And the other thing too, here's the other thing. These kids get burnt out eventually because you've made it such a career for them at a young age. It's supposed to be fun. It's supposed to be fun. We got to take a quick break. When we come back, we need a contestant for a midday sports standoff. We're going to talk about the American League. I promise. I know we kept putting it off. We're going to get to that later on the 1 o'clock hour. Braden Surprenant show continues on San Diego's number one sports station 97 through the Fan. San Diego FC enters the second leg of its CONCACAF Champions Cup matchup against Pumas UNAM, holding a commanding 4-1 aggregate lead, but instead of playing conservatively, Coach Mikey Varas is doubling down on attacking principles, even at 7,500 feet above sea level in Mexico City. And Frank, when we do these updates on Tuesdays, I'm tired of these Tuesday games. It kind of like puts the that we could just play the guessing game of like, what are the keys going into the game, and then what would happen if they're able to win, and what's going on in the further if happens if they lose. It's kind of a lot of what if games because we can't wait around to see what the results are. But this is a very important one on Tuesday night.
Yeah, absolutely. Kickoff is 53 minutes away as we sit here and record on Tuesday night, but it is going to be very, very crucial. You've got the altitude that you're not used to playing in here in San Diego, not really used to playing anywhere in the MLS except for maybe the Colorado Rapids. But other than that, I mean, it is a huge, huge game for San Diego FC to announce themselves on the international stage and to have a 3-goal cushion against a team like Pumas. That is absolutely massive going into tonight's game.
Yeah, the identity of this team and Mikey Varas openly rejecting the classic park the bus strategy, as you talked about on
Italian
the show today.
style.
Quotes emphasize conviction and a mentality that is a protagonist mentality and going for the next goal, and it sets up a clear debate. Is it bravery versus recklessness? And I think they're more on the bravery side than the recklessness side, but we've seen this since like game one of the history of San Diego FC. When they're being coached by Mikey Varas, they're going to go and go after wins instead of playing conservatively.
Yeah, it's absolutely huge. And as I mentioned on the show, it's hard to be on, shut it off and relax, and then kick it back into gear again and get ready to go. So if you're just playing on the way San Diego's, the way Mikey Varas always has this club doing, it's a very, very good way to avoid getting complacent. They might have to slow it down a little bit tonight to be used to, since they're not used to the altitude. But other than that, I mean, this club is so well coached from top to bottom.
Now let's talk about the altitude. These next couple things are going to be built-in excuses for San Diego FC if they don't get the job done. But we'll tell you why it doesn't really matter in a little bit. But altitude is an X factor. I mean, Mexico City elevation is 7,500 feet, poses a real physical challenge for a coastal team. Anibal Godoy acknowledged fatigue will be real, but insists it won't be an excuse. And Varas subtly hedged by mentioning tactical nuances and flexibility, hinting they might adjust if they need to based on the environment that they're playing in.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, all you have to do is avoid losing 3-0 tonight. If you lose 3-0, then you're tied. Then you're tied on away goals. Pumas gets in. If you lose 4-1, then you're playing extra time, which means you really wish you would have had left something in the tank. That's an extra half hour you have to play on top of the 90 that you've already played, which is why I'm assuming that San Diego FC is going to try to slow everything down a little bit, try to conserve some of that energy just in case the worst case scenario happens and you do have to go into extra time tonight.
Now, there is something about the momentum shift. I mean, Pumas actually controlled the match early and led 1-0. San Diego scored 4 goals in 17 minutes, in that 19-minute collapse for Pumas UNAM. San Diego goals flipped the series and embarrassed Pumas to the point that they didn't even, they sat there shocked in the locker room at Snapdragon Stadium for hours. And then the Mexican media they doubled down. They ripped Pumas afterward, adding emotional fuel for the home side. So the altitude, the momentum, the motivation, the embarrassment from before, that kind of bulletin board extra material is what Pumas is going to have. But I don't know if that's enough to make them outscore San Diego 4-1 or a 3-0 shutout.
No, because San Diego FC's game is possession. They like to control the possession, sit at the back line, wait for an opening, and then go and attack it. They are going to patiently wait for what they need, especially it's not quite park the bus because they do have a 3-goal cushion here, but I would not be surprised at all if you see San Diego FC continue that possession dominance like they had in the first leg.
Away goals loom large, meaning one San Diego goal could effectively kill the tie and really kill this game and kill this round and set them up to potentially advance. Now, history does offer a warning. Atlas overturned a similar 4-1 deficit in 2023 at elevation. San Diego's limited elevation history is mixed. 1 win, 1 loss, both at much lower altitudes. And the next round, you better get used to the altitude. In fact, it's going to increase a little bit. Toluca is at 8,750 feet, which raises the stakes even more.
Yeah, absolutely. Which means, again, you're going to have to really do your damage at home and then rely on just the patience and overall ability to be able to get yourself past Toluca into the next round.
And we'll see how this particular video ages into next week. We'll see it very quickly, if you will, as we update you on San Diego FC. We do it each and every week. Again, subscribe to us on YouTube at @B_SURP, at the Braden Surprenant Show, and we look forward to talking to soccer with you next week. Tickets to give away for a 4-pack to a Padres spring training game at the Peoria Sports Complex. And if you win the ticket giveaway in the 1 o'clock hour, you will then automatically be qualified for a shot at the grand prize, 4 tickets to Padres and Giants at Petco Park on April 1st. Get your spring training tickets now at PeoriaBaseball.com. We'll be doing that in the 1 o'clock hour. We are broadcasting live for the Bill House Studios. We know how. We do want to get to the midday sports standoff. If you can call in and take me down in some sports trivia, you would be qualified for a shot at 2 tickets to 9 Inch Nails at Pechanga Arena on March 9th. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. Now, we're going to get to that. We're going to wait for a contestant, but Brandon in Carlsbad did call in before then to join the show. Brandon in Carlsbad, what's going on, man?
Yeah, what's up, Frank? What's up, Braden? Yeah, I don't think I could take you anyways, B. I'm a guy that knows how to stay in my lane. But I want to touch base on what you were talking about before the break. I'm right there with you, Braden. So as you guys know, and maybe you don't, and maybe you listeners, I have a private athletic sports training facility in Carlsbad called NAKOA Performance, NAKOA Performance. It's a Hawaiian word for warrior. Anyways, so with that being said, we work with, I'm a strength conditioning specialist. I work with a bunch of travel ball clubs. I don't care if it's lacrosse, softball, baseball, anywhere from U9 all the way to U8, 18, U17. It is a travesty that we have not only allowed parents, and I don't care if the parent knows who I am, they're calling you, your kid doesn't have to train with me. Kids need to be kids. They're getting force-fed to be on a team all year long. They're negating that by not doing high school sports because club ball all of a sudden becomes more important. Meanwhile, and all you coaches, you know who I am and I know who you are, that's a cash cow, and these kids are burnt out. I see it day in and day out, and I'm the first one to tell a parent, don't waste my time or your parents' money. If you don't want to be here and you feel like you're training too much, it's sad. Read a book out there called The Mindful Athlete. I forget the doctor's name, but you said it too, Braden. Let your children or your young adult kids, in the high teens, play different sports. Let them go get humbled. If little Johnny's a badass in baseball, then great. but let them go get humbled in basketball or whatever the case may be, because what that does for them developmentally in the future, as opposed to just thinking that they're the stud, it's good to get checked, because this is life. And 99.999% of all your children aren't going to go pro anyways. I've been doing this a long time. As you can see, I'm passionate about what you said, Braden. You know, if your kid's thriving and kicks butt, then awesome. But learn how to foster that, and don't force your kid to play year-round either, because kids get burnt out. I see it day in and day out. Hey, you guys have a great day. Let's let kids be kids. Quit acting like high school's college. Get over it. Thank you.
Brandon, appreciate the phone call. The club sports stuff is wild, man. It's wild. It's just, I can't, I hear stories over and over again. It blows my mind, the level. I mean, I'm going to tell you right now, like, and parents don't see it, but I'm going to tell you right now, you will quickly see a kid. I got to see it in football, right? You can quickly see a kid that's good enough to play in the NFL. It's easy. He is the best player that you have ever seen. I mean, that is the level player that you have to be to make it to the NFL. That's the level of player you have to be, really, to make it to college. I mean, you know, we got a kid on our team at Cathedral, Honor Falave. That kid is unbelievable. Out of my however many years coaching, I can't believe the athletic things that he does. And I'm going to tell you right now, like, it's not even like a guarantee he's going to make it to that level, because even he might be too small. He does the most unbelievable things I have ever seen. And there's a lot of athletes that did that. Those are the athletes that make it to the highest level. Does anybody who need to watch, let me ask you this, Frank, have you ever seen Reggie Bush highlights when he was at Helix?
Yes.
He was a man
Mental.
playing with toddlers. Mental. What kind of career did he have in the NFL? It was okay.
Yeah.
Solid. It was
Serviceable.
okay. So he bounced around. I mean, he was never an MVP. He was never. Think about that level for a second. Go watch those highlights. That is the player that your kid has to be to make it to that level. That's why it's so impressive when we get some of these guys on from other teams that are from San Diego that have made it out to be professional athletes. I mean, when they were in high school, they were freaks. And the reason why Brandon brings this up, and this is where I get, it's a very much a double-edged sword. Like, if your kid is that level, and we have a lot of those kids here in San Diego. We do have a lot of great athletes in San Diego that end up doing a lot of great things. Fred Warner, right, in the NFL. He's one of them. Chris Olave made the NFL. I mean, you go, Jason Myers just won a Super Bowl with Rashid Shaheed. I mean, these guys are legendary players, but they also, legendary high school players, but they also, have the gifts to get to that level. But the reality is, here's the reasonable thing. This is where the double-edged sword. If your kid is that level, you will know immediately, because they're probably bigger than everybody else and just a freak athlete. I can understand that kid focusing on one sport. I mean, there's a lot of money on the line. But if your kid is not that level, play other sports. Let them fail. Even if you are at that level, I get it, but also play other sports. Here's the thing about these club coaches, and they get super mad when I talk about this, but this is the reality of the situation. You shouldn't be playing a sport year-round, and the reason why they do, that is a main. It's so profitable, because if you're not practicing, guess who's not getting paid? The guy that runs the club, the girl that runs the club. If you are not practicing or playing for them, who's not getting paid? You have to understand that when you go into this. Now, if your kid's just like locked into just this one sport and they're good at volleyball and they're just going to be a stud volleyball player and they don't really want to play anything else, I mean, yeah, okay, sure. Like they could do, and they're just so, they can't get enough of volleyball, by all means, go for it. Whatever. But if you think that you have to play that sport year-round to make it to college, I'm telling you, you don't have to. You really don't have to. You can talk to any college coach like that. I've talked to local college coaches in baseball about certain kids that I have in football and go like, hey, He wants to focus on this. And the response is he should probably be playing multiple sports. It's not that kind of level. The whole purpose of this, play as many sports as you can, while you can. Play with your high school friends. Go play high school sports. And the message of, if you play for me and you play year-round for me, by also paying this fee, I will get you to college. Stop believing the lies. It's not real. And the real coaches and the real club coaches out there will tell you, we're shutting down during this time. Go be a kid. Go play other sports. Our football program at Cathedral, we demand our kids to play another sport at school. That's not the case for every sport over there. It's not the case for a lot of high school sports. I hate when high school coaches hog kids because they just want them there the whole time. Have your kids play multiple sports if they're good enough to do that. I'm trying, speaking the truth today. I am. We got a contestant? Let's get to it. Midday Sports Standoff.
Welcome to Midday Sports Standoff on the Braden Surprenant Show.
I can't believe what I'm seeing right now.
The ultimate head-to-head battle where sports knowledge and quick thinking collide.
No, it's no good. Are you kidding me?
Contestants will go toe-to-toe with Braden in a sports trivia deal where every correct answer brings them closer to victory.
Down the sideline! Wow! Unbelievable!
But 3 strikes and it's game over.
This is not Detroit, man. This is the Super Bowl.
Can you outsmart Braden? The Midday Sports Standoff starts now.
All right, Frank, who we got playing today?
We have Steven in Santee playing today. Steven, how are you doing today, bud?
I'm doing good. How are you guys?
Doing well.
Good.
What do we got? What do we got question-wise
So
today?
our topic today is per Fangraphs. So shut that website off. I can see it. I can see it in the mirror.
Yeah, here it is.
Who
right
is projected to hit the most home runs this year? Top 10 guys who are projected to hit the most home runs this year.
This is trivia. This is
Yes.
like stuff that you should have a knowledge of. It's not a guessing game.
Steven, what's your first guess?
Aaron Judge.
Oh man,
Steven's already off and beating you. Captain
Of course.
Funny. It's Arson Fudge has the
Well,
is
then
projected
therefore,
the most home runs.
therefore, he's wrong because he said Aaron Judge and you said it's Arson Fudge.
Pick. We're running out of time.
Kyle Schwarber,
Kyle Schwarber's number 3 on the list. He's projected to hit 42,
according to Fangraphs.
according to Fangraphs. Yes.
Okay, here we
Steven.
We're doing projections of trivia now.
Shohei Ohtani.
Otani's number 2 on the list.
So we have 1, 2, and
Projected to hit 49.
Come on, Big Dumper's got to have a big year again. Cal Raleigh.
Cal Raleigh's number 4. Projected to hit 39.
I agree with Go Aztecs. At least it's a recognizable site instead of some whatever weird site you had to just prove the Mets are going to be good.
Yeah. Steve?
Kyle Schwarber.
We already said Kyle Schwarber.
Oh, you did? Bryce Harper.
Wow.
Bryce Harper not on this list.
Fangraphs not believing in Bryce, huh? Okay. So we said Kyle Schwarber, Shohei Ohtani, Aaron Judge, Cal Raleigh.
Yes.
Oh man. I mean, there's no way they think Mike Trout's going to make it through the year. What about what about Julio Rodriguez? Just throwing things out there.
Julio Rodriguez is not on this list. Steve?
Vladimir Guerrero.
Nope, not on this list.
Really? They don't think Vlad's going to hit many home runs?
The basement, the bottom of the top 10 here is 34. So 34 or more home runs.
There's probably 0 Padres on that list.
There, of the remaining, only 1 player is in the National League.
Oh, okay. It's got to be a Doyer then, maybe. Only one's in the. Who's just trying to think of power hitters off the top of my head. Short porch and right. What about Cody Bellinger? There's no way he's on there.
No, he's not. Steve, we're running out of time, so if you get this one, you'll be qualified.
Oh, man. Jordan Alvarez.
No, it was not Jordan Alvarez.
Juan Soto. That's got to be on there.
And Braden's going to steal it from you right at the
Bang!
very end.
You know what? You know what I go to all the time with these? It has to have a Met on there. Otherwise, Frank wouldn't ask the
That
question.
was not. Brother, I'm looking for questions with multiple answers. That's all I'm doing. I don't care who's on it.
We got to get more creative.
Trying.
You're getting called Scraby.
I'm trying
The insult
to be
is real.
creative.
He's getting called Scraby. about that time. I think a lot of people didn't like your trivia question today.
That's cool.
Including somebody important.
Yeah.
You know what? How about this? One, dude, that's a foul on one. I have to say, it's a foul on one. He ratted you out, dude.
He draws the foul.
He ratted you out.
Juan, I thought we were cool.
He went immediately to the what? What a rat.
Brother, I thought we
He
were
goes
cool.
right to the boss and goes like, hey, can you get this guy in trouble? What are we doing, Juan? Come on, man. You're better than that. You must have really upset Juan with that trivia question.
Something, snitches, something, stitches, something.
He did it to an Italian, too. That's rough. All right. Well, you got to go see Adam after the show. So good luck with that. That's going to be fun. Get that rat some cheese, Rod. Juan's a big wine and cheese guy. A little happy hour? A little aperitivo, huh? Huh? Why do we keep getting calls from Terry Hoot? Did you upset Indiana State?
Yes, I did.
Sycamores?
Yep.
All right, let's get to today's Scrapey Jr. That's too far. Let's get to today's biggest fan. We do got a trivia question that we got to ask for people in the 1 o'clock hour to give away tickets. But today's biggest fan, I'm seeing the same name from yesterday. This has not been a good 5 minutes for you. Let me tell you that.
I knew there was something during the break I needed to do. I knew it.
Juan, I don't fear the fishes.
Today's biggest fan is Jonathan Jacoub, Jacoub in San Diego. You have 10 minutes to call in to be qualified for today's biggest fan.
Who is it? Jonathan who?
Jonathan, it's either Jacob or Jacoub, Jacoub.
Jonathan Jacob? That sounds like an NFL football player. Give us a call within the next 10 minutes, 288-0973, 833-288-0973. You qualify for our grand prize, 20 tickets for you and your friends for a night in our Odyssey Suite at a Padres game with all the fan staff later this season, catered by Spiro's Mediterranean Cuisine. Remember to register your name at 97throughthefansd.com/biggest fan. Biggest fan today is
Jacoub, Jacoub, Jacoub in San Diego.
You're just getting crushed now.
I know.
You're just getting crushed.
Yep.
Well, he didn't announce their names, so that's probably part of it. All right, let's get to we are broadcasting live for the Bill House Studios. We know how. We got to talk a little bit about it in the opening segment today. San Diego FC advances in the tournaments in the CONCACAF Champions Cup, but on top of that, they did lose yesterday, 1-0. I look at San Diego FC and the way that they played. They had a big number when it comes to the aggregate. They kind of slowed things down on offense, but overall they did a really good job.
Yeah, absolutely. And they played exactly how you would expect a team that was coming in with effectively a 3-goal lead would play. They did slow it down a little bit. They were playing on the back foot for most of the night. But other than that, a 1-0 loss, also expected. Nothing negative I could take away from last night's game.
No, I can't take anything away from last night's game from a negative standpoint either, because of the way that they played, in the first game at home. So, San Diego FC, their next game will be, again, down in Mexico. They're going to be taking on a pretty formidable foe coming up. And if that altitude was a problem before, you're going to get more of an altitude problem with their next matchup and Toluca. So, did San Diego FC prove they're legit? I think they did, but I also think they got a little exposed too on some of the style of play. But it's hard to really be critical of a team getting outshot 25-5 and living on the goalkeeper heroics when they went into the game with a 4-1 lead in the aggregate score.
Yeah, and like I said, that's exactly how you would expect a team that has a 3-goal lead to perform. I mean, you're going to rely a little bit more on the back line. You're not going to try to push offensively nearly as much as you normally would.
We interrupt our regularly scheduled programming to bring you this play-by-play broadcast on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
Iowa State and TCU
Wait a
meeting
minute.
for the 33rd time here tonight. Cyclones lead the all-time series
Is our San Diego FC
18-14.
segment getting preempted right now?
And
I think it might
Cyclone
be.
women, 10-9 lead at BYU right now with about 5 minutes
What is
to go
happening?
in the first quarter there. Cyclones
This is
up
the
10-9.
TCU Iowa State game from last night.
And
Are we allowed? What is going on? Wow. Fox Sports getting us again. Can't believe it. It's terrible. You can't talk about San Diego FC without the Iowa State TCU game interrupting. So ridiculous. So disrespectful.
We gave Adam a heart attack. I think we really do need to see him.
What do you mean we? I did not do anything or touch anything. I don't know what you're talking about.
You were a co-conspirator in this, sir.
We're talking about San Diego FC, and even West got preempted. Fox Sports just really does not like the soccer deal.
No, certainly not.
I just, it's raining frogs outside right now. That was pretty funny. Let's get to what we've been trying to talk about. Let's talk about the American League. Let's get into baseball. Let's get into the baseball talk here in the final hour. Hopefully our biggest fan calls in. We will have a trivia question for you, not going into this next break, but going into the final break to potentially win tickets to Padres in spring training. Let's get to the American League East to start things out. MLB.com released and had all their beat writers write up starting lineups and rotational pieces for the regular season, and we got some hot takes to buy or sell in all of these. Let's start with the American League East.
Let's do that. As the Toronto Blue Jays are going to be the first one on this list, their biggest story is going to be life after Bo Bichette. They've lost Bichette. Losing Bichette forces Toronto to rethink its lineup identity. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. Becomes even more central, but without a locked-in number 2 hitter. Expect constant shuffling. Also, the news that Anthony Santander is going to be out more or less the entire season with shoulder surgery, removes that middle of the order stability.
Yeah, the Blue Jays, off-season winners, right? We talked about that. They won the off-season. Does that ever work out for certain teams? It usually doesn't. I know they were right there ready to go. They got a taste, and now they're, we'll see what happens. What usually happens to the team that loses the World Series the next year?
They usually do not perform well.
Right. Except for the Royals, right? Was that the only team that was able to do it?
The Royals went back-to-back, went 2 back-to-back World Series.
So the question then becomes, and I agree with one. One's Blue Jays give him 2023 Padres vibes. Yeah. A lot of money spent, not a lot of significant depth. They already lost a big piece at the beginning. Buy or sell, the Blue Jays will miss the playoffs and start a soft reset by July. I don't know about a soft reset, but I don't know. I could see now. I see it trending towards they could potentially miss the playoffs. It'd be very disappointing for them, but it would definitely be the 2023 Padres if that was the case.
I can definitely see them possibly missing the playoffs because of the next team that we're going to discuss, but I don't see them resetting. I think there's so much money that's involved right now is to do a reset, and a lot of the money that they would be resetting with comes off the books at the end of the year anyway.
Sell the hype. Sell the hype for the Blue Jays. Buy that they might miss the playoffs. You got no Bo Bichette. Santander is out. Lineup construction by matchup roulette. Cease and Gossman are legit, but the roster does feel like it's some patchwork around Vladdy. 500 team pretending to be dangerous. I could buy that. Maybe they're gonna have a disappointing year. Are they the most disappointing team at the end of the year?
They just might be.
They might be the most disappointing team because they are following the blueprint for teams that just got close, made it to the World Series, lost, and then that team usually does not do well the next year. The only difference was the Kansas City Royals came back and then won the World Series. Rangers went back to back and lost both.
Yeah, and with how much money they've spent. It would be a very big miss, most disappointing for sure. The Baltimore Orioles, big storyline. The lineup is loaded if they could stay healthy. Gunnar Henderson leading off is electric. Adding Pete Alonso changes the power equation dramatically, and Sam Basallo emerges. His emergence adds youth thunder. Injuries, though, to watch out for. Jackson Holiday, the broken hamate. He will start the season on the IL. Same thing that Corbin Carroll and Francisco Lindor are dealing with. Jordan Westberg will be dealing with an oblique injury, but he is expected to be ready for opening day. This is another team that really retooled over the offseason.
Yeah, they did. They still have some questions to the rotation. The offense looks pretty good. What's the buy or sell?
I thought, okay. Did you have the buy or sell?
That's right there on the sheet.
Oh, okay. Buy or sell. The Orioles have the best lineup in the American League.
I'm going to sell that.
Yeah, I'm going to sell that.
I think
as
they're
well.
pretty good, but there's too many question marks and too many injury risks. Otherwise, I would say yes to that. I sell that. The hot take, if Bradish stays upright, Baltimore wins the East. I could buy that.
Yeah.
They got to stay healthy. They could still use some more starting pitching. I know they've been in conversations with Zach Gallen as the latest reports, but I think Baltimore, I'm not ready to go all in on Baltimore yet.
No, I think they will make the playoffs. I think they will beat Toronto out for a playoff spot. I don't think they're gonna go far if they do.
I don't think they win the division.
No.
On to the next one.
On to Tampa Bay. The Rays, top 4 in their lineup. Very, very good. Simpson brings a lot of speed. Diaz is an on-base percentage machine. Aranda, bat to ball reliability. And Caminero has game-changing power. After that, they don't have much. It's very thin. They're very matchup dependent, and Cash will platoon aggressively, which means their biggest concern is going to be depth, a lack of right-handed thump, and an over-reliance on youth. But again, that's always Tampa's MO.
It is always Tampa's MO, and they got good pitching. Right? Starting pitching's pretty solid. But will the rotation carry them to 95-plus wins of what they probably have to do to make the playoffs? No, I'm going to sell that. I mean, even if McClanahan is 85% of peak form and Rasmussen stays healthy, I understand that it could potentially be the Rays' traditional pitching dominance, but the lineup is thin. And it's, there's too many platoons that they have to deal with. The division's tough. I don't think they finish top 2 in the division again. I think they'll be better than what a lot of people think they will do. I think everybody's going to underrate them again, and they might put a little bit of a run into it. I don't think it's going to be enough to overcome the rest of their division.
I agree. And speaking of one of those teams in their division, the Boston Red Sox, their biggest storyline right now is upside everywhere. Roman Anthony could become a franchise bat immediately. Adding Wilson Contreras gives them real run production, and a young infield core with Mayer and Durbin brings volatility, but upside. Platoon notes: Rami Gonzalez playing versus left-handed pitching. Mayer likely shielded early in his career. Their strengths right now are their athleticism, speed, and development curve potential. Their concerns, though, youth inconsistency and their defensive growing pains. Also, one person that wasn't even mentioned on here, Christian Campbell, who signed a 7-year contract extension last year, is now being seen as an afterthought.
Yeah, he didn't get a lot of money though. Like, it's not a ton of money.
It was one of those Acuna deals.
Right. It's even less than that. They might have the most complete roster in the American League East right now because everybody else has massive holes. So
it's just young.
It's young in a lot of spots. They improved the middle. They improved the infield a little bit, right? I mean, that they had going into the season, but it's still a downgrade from what they had last year. No Bregman, no Devers. Didn't get either of them to stay. I know Roman Anthony's badass, but I don't know. This is the Red Sox. The Red Sox are on paper this is probably the most complete team in this division. But are they going to be the most dangerous Red Sox team since 2018? No, I don't think so. I feel like I've heard that every year for the last 6-7 years.
We'll get more into our picks and who we think is going to win the divisions a little bit later on.
closer to
in the
day.
month as the season as the spring training goes on. But right now, I would say, unfortunately, seems like the team that could win the division. The New York Yankees. Big story is star power, but a very, very weird structure. Grisham leading off is unconventional. Judge, Bellinger, Stanton core is elite on paper. Goldschmidt platoon with Ben Rice adds flexibility. Their concerns, though, are health, considering Giancarlo Stanton and Aaron Judge's histories, bottom third production, and over-reliance on aging strugglers. Their strength is, if healthy, top 5 in the order is devastating. Jazz Chisholm adds athleticism and Bellinger's rebound potential.
Buy or sell?
Buy or sell. The New York Yankees rotation will sink their season before Garrett Cole returns. I don't think buy or sell or hope so. I'm going with hope so.
I can buy it. I mean, Max Fried can't carry the rotation.
No.
They got Warren, Weathers. Like Ryan
rotation,
Weathers is supposed to be one of their better arms in the rotation before Garrett Cole comes back.
Their rotation right now, their rotation projection is Max Fried, Cam Schlittler,
That's unfortunate last name.
Will Warren, Ryan Weathers, and Luis Heel. That is before Garrett Cole returns in either May or June from Tommy John surgery, and Rodon could miss the first month.
I will buy that their rotation will sink their season. Those names are not a scary rotation. Hot take: by June, they'll regret not adding another frontline arm.
They always do.
Yes,
They
I will buy
always
that. 100% a hot take. 100%. Buy it. I just don't see it. The Yankees, as I'm going to quote one here, Yankees really are the unction. They got some older dudes, man. They're old. I think this might be a catastrophe of a year for the New York Yankees. I mean, they've been lucky. Like, Aaron Judge has stayed healthy the last couple of years. For the last couple of years, Aaron Judge was an injury-prone player.
Mm-hmm.
What happens if he goes down? Where are the Yankees at then? Trouble.
Yeah.
They're in trouble. American League Central, we'll preview that division a little bit when looking at some of the hot takes with them and their opening day outlook as we get to as we're in the beginning portions of spring trainings. We'll talk about the American League Central when we come back. Later on, we'll get to the American League West. In the next segment, I'm going to give you the trivia question for you to potentially win tickets to spring training. And if you win the tickets today by getting the trivia question correct, you have a chance to win tickets to a Padres regular season game against the Giants on April 1st. Stay tuned to the next segment. I'll tell you what the trivia question is when we come back. Braden Surprenant Show, San Diego's number one sports station, 97 to the Fan. It's Daytona 500 week. More than just one race out in Daytona, Florida. The 2026 NASCAR Cup Series season officially gets rolling with the 68th running of the Daytona 500, set for Sunday, February 15th, 2:30 Eastern on Fox. And no matter how much the sport evolves, the prestige of the Harley J. Earl Trophy still stands alone. That's the big news for NASCAR fans. But for here in us in San Diego, it means the start of the season is here for a season that's going to include a race right here in San Diego.
Yep, absolutely. And there's a lot of learning to do, which is why we're putting NASCAR in these clips. So first, the very basics, because Daytona Super Speed Weeks are very, very different from anything else you're going to see over the course of the season. There are 36 cars that are guaranteed to be locked into the Daytona 500 no matter what. After that, there are going to be cars trying to race their way in through one qualifying, setting a fast time, or by going through the duels on Thursday, trying to race their way in. So there's a lot of different things that can happen over the course of this week that you won't see in any other week.
Yeah, that provisional is being used by this year, or being used this year by 7-time champion Jimmy Johnson, putting a 41-car field on track for NASCAR's biggest race. Good to see Jimmy Johnson back out there. I know he's been rumored to run in a lot of the races that are going to be here in San Diego.
Yeah, I believe he's already going to be running the Truck Series race. I'm pretty sure. I don't see why he wouldn't be in the Cup race either. So he's trying to do as much as he can for San Diego. So right now, getting back to Daytona, right now there are cars, a lot of cars that are going to be running for those open spots now that Johnson's taken one of the provisionals. They've added a car to the 500. You have Justin Allgaier, Corey Heim, who was last year's Truck Series champion, Corey LaJoie, Chandler Smith, and Anthony Alfredo, who are going to be looking for either to get in through qualifying speed or to get in through the duels.
Yeah, I mean, these guys are just competing, just get their season started,
Yes.
if you will. And when this starts single car qualifying on Wednesday night?
Yes, Wednesday night, the 11th. Then it is the duels on Thursday night. Truck Series season kicks off on Friday night. Saturday afternoon is going to be the ARCA Series race, which if you're looking for a demolition derby, the ARCA Series is where you're going to find it. The Xfinity Series will run on Saturday night, like midday Saturday into Saturday night. And then the Cup Series running the Daytona 500 on Sunday, where there's rain in the forecast, because of course there is. But a President's Day on Monday, so a lot of people will have the day off.
Let's go back a little bit. Let's talk about how this works in terms of the qualifying for the big race. So it's going to happen Wednesday night, February 11th, will be the single car qualifying. Explain for us how do you qualify, what the rules are for the qualification, how many laps you get, and who gets to advance to the next stage.
So each driver will get one timed lap around Daytona. So they'll get their warm-up lap, they'll get the time lap, and then they get the cool-down lap. The top 10 will advance into the second round in the battle for the pole. The two fastest drivers in that final round will make up the front row for the Daytona 500. Then you go to the duels. The duel races on Thursday night. Drivers who qualified in odd number positions, 1, 3, 5, they'll be in duel 1. Drivers who qualified on the outside rows, positions 2, 4, 6, and on down, they will be in duel number 2. Now, the front row is locked for the Daytona 500. So whoever qualifies first and second are going to start the Daytona 500 from first and or second. However, it doesn't matter where you qualified after that, because if you win the duel race, if you win duel number 1, you're going to be starting third. If you finish second, you're starting fifth, and so on and so on. Same thing with duel number 2. If you win duel number 2, you're starting in fourth, second gets sixth, eighth, and so on.
For the open teams, this is where the pressure really spikes. If you're not already locked in on speed, the top open finisher in each duel punches a ticket to Sunday's race. And new for 2026, even the open cars that qualify on speed will have their starting positions determined by those duel results, as Frank mentioned, not just qualifying time. So it adds extra juice to the races during the week. So while fans see one race on Sunday, this week teams are managing 4 straight days of pressure, strategy, survival, just to get to the green flag.
Yeah, absolutely. It's the start to the year that you cannot wait for. 4 straight days of racing, 4 different classifications of car. It's a dream time for NASCAR right now.
So you go through all the qualifying and all that other stuff, and then we didn't even. All guests on 97 through the Fan, join us on the David P. Shapiro Fan Hotline. David P. Shapiro, criminal defense attorneys helping good people regain control of their future when charged with the crime since 2010. Visit davidpshapirolaw.com. All right, let's dive into the American League Central, kind of going through our early preview of the season with starting lineups that are expected to happen, as well as starting rotations, where everything stands going into opening day. This early out, we move on to the American League Central with our buy or sell.
We do move on to the American League Central, as we will start off first with the Cleveland Guardians, because why not? Right now, for Cleveland, youth continues to be its formula, elite development, contact at the top, and building around Jose Ramirez. Their strengths right now is Stephen Kwan sets the table as one of the best pure hitters in baseball. DeLauder has legitimate middle-of-the-order upside. Meanwhile, Manzardo and Naylor represent the power development bet. Their concerns, though, The lineup leans heavily on left-handers. Arias, Rocchio, Kafis must prove they can handle everyday roles with very little margin if Ramirez were to miss time.
Buy or sell?
Their buy or sell would be Cleveland's youth movement makes them division favorites.
I'm going to sell that. Lineup is lefty heavy. It's very streaky. You mentioned before, if Jose Ramirez goes down, they're kind of in a
bind.
The rotation always is the upside, and their rotation upside is definitely real, but it's not a dominant rotation in Cleveland. They're scrappy. They're not scary. They're not scary yet. That division's going to be the Tigers or bust, I think, going into the season, unless there's significant injuries to the Tigers. But as of right now for the Guardians, I'm going to sell that their youth movement makes them division favorites. Scrappy, not scary.
That'll bring us to the Kansas City Royals. Their big story right now is Bybee versus Williams as their next ace, projecting that Gavin Williams, will have a breakout year to make this a legitimate 1-2 punch. Their strength right now are, wait a minute. Nope, I'm on the wrong one. Kansas City Royals, their ceiling.
Foul.
Yep, there it is. It's there.
You've gotten we've played we've let the guys play today.
Yeah.
Frank's had a lot of opportunities for fouls.
I have. Kansas City's ceiling is directly tied to Bobby Witt Jr.'s MVP trajectory. Their strengths are Witt and Pasquantino, are a legitimate offensive core. Perez still provides power. Garcia's table-setting potential. Concerns, though, lefty-heavy lineup. Collins and Jensen are question marks, and there are depth behind the top, and their depth behind the top four. Their buy or sell, though, is that they're going to win the AL Central.
That's a bold prediction.
That is, yes, it is.
Selling it. The rotation's pretty top heavy. Ragans, Lugo, and Waka definitely stable, but top heavy. Bobby Witt Jr. is MVP level player, right? MVP level engine. I think they are the most balanced team in the division, but I just don't. It's still too young. I don't think they're there quite yet. Plus, as long as the Tigers have Skubal and Valdez and Verlander and Flaherty and Mize, pitching wins. And the Tigers pitching staff's better than the Royals, and they got young stars too. I can't buy that yet. I'm going to sell it for the Royals. Let's move on to the Tigers.
To the Tigers, again, they are very, very young, as you mentioned, but the big story is that Spencer Torkelson must arrive. Their strengths are that Riley Green is an all-star level bat. Torres stabilizes the top of the order, and Carpenter straight mashes. Their concerns: bottom third production, outfield timeshare logjam, and Dingler/Keith and their development curve. Their buy or sell: Detroit has the best rotation in the American League Central with Tarek Skubal, Framber Valdez, Justin Verlander, Jack Flaherty, and Casey Mize.
Buy. That's not nearly as bold of a take as the Royals win the division, is it?
No.
I will buy that. Torkelson hits, that team's going to win 95 games. That team's good. They're going to be good. They've been building up. They still got a lot of young, controllable assets. Final year of Skubal probably in Detroit unless they work out a deal. I'm buying that. I think they got the best. They got the best rotation. With the best rotation, they're going to win the division.
Also got a little bit thinner, as I believe it was Reese Olson is going to be down for the year with surgery, so that it did get a little bit weaker though. To the Minnesota Twins, their big story is health determines everything. Buxton and Lewis are game changers. Bell provides needed power, and they have young depth with guys such as with Lee and Cashel.
Sure.
Concerns: Buxton's durability, defensive consistency, and a heavy reliance on platoon. So with that, buy or sell: Minnesota's pitching depth makes them a sleeper contender.
I'll buy that. I don't think they're going to be a contender, but
the pitching depth
is good enough to be, to hang around and to be a sleepy contender. Lopez, Ryan, Ober, Bradley. That's a pretty strong rotation. It's not better than Detroit's, but the pitching could get them close. Are they going to win 92 games? No.
It's the pitching depth that we were upset that they didn't trade last year.
Yeah, that they could keep them alive. Who's gonna hit? Buxton? How long is Buxton going to play before he gets hurt? I'll buy the fact that Minnesota might hang around, but they could also collapse too very quickly.
Let's wrap up probably what is the most irrelevant series division in baseball with the Chicago White Sox.
Most irrelevant team in the most irrelevant division.
Well, there's a youth explosion going on in Chicago, allegedly. Murakami's arrival is franchise defining. Their strengths, high upside prospects, athletic core, and an energy shift. Their concern, experience, strikeout volatility, and the development timeline. There was a wild card in this, though, and that is Luis Angel Acuna could join his brother in the outfield as possibly a center field fix now that Luis Robert Jr. is in Queens. Buy or sell, the White Sox will not finish last.
Sell.
Yeah.
Sell.
Selling again.
They're not going to not finish in last. They will finish in last place again. The only one that might be able to come close is the Twins. There's no way. Jerry Reinsdorf traded with the Mets for Rangel Acuna, whatever his name is, because they thought it was Ronald Acuna.
Luis Angel
Acuna. He probably thought he got the right Acuna. Be like, what happened to this guy? Sell. Youth movement isn't coming, and it's not winning yet. The White Sox are going to be terrible.
Also, prime Chicago White Sox real estate here, as they spelled Murakami's name wrong on his name tag on the locker at spring training.
Bad omen.
That's a great start.
Bad omen. Anyway, 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. All right, I got the trivia question for you. If you call in and you're the first one to answer said trivia question, and by the way, if you ask us for the trivia question, you're going to get hung up on. If you call in and you answer the trivia question correctly, you will win a 4-pack of tickets to a Padres spring training game at Peoria Sports Complex, and you will be qualified for a shot at the grand prize, 4 tickets to Padres and Giants at Petco Park on April 1st. Get your spring training tickets now at PeoriaBaseball.com. Since 2018, the opening day starter in right field for the Padres has been Will Myers, Fernando Tatis Jr., and 2 others. Name one of the 2 other starting right fielders on opening day for the Padres, not named Fernando Tatis Jr., not named Will Myers. You get one of the 2 and be the first one to do it. You will win today's prize. Name me one of the 2 right fielders to start on opening day since 2018 that's not named Fernando Tatis Jr. and not named Will Myers. First one to do that wins a 4-pack of tickets to Padres spring training at the Peoria Sports Complex, and you're qualified for a shot at the grand prize, 4 tickets to Padres and Giants at Petco Park on April 1st. Get your spring training tickets now at PeoriaBaseball.com. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. Have the answer when we come back. Talk about the American League West, put a bow on this thing, and send it on to Gwen and Chris. Braden Surprenant Show, setting us on Sports Station 97 through the Fan. Well, it's another college update, and that means more realignment news when we talk about our updates here on the Braden Surprenant Show. The focus this week, realignment. Mountain West, North Dakota State decided to jump. College football realignment keeps finding new ways to surprise you, and this one matters. North Dakota State, the undisputed powerhouse of the FCS, has officially finalized its move to the Mountain West in football only starting in 2026. And this isn't a casual step up. It's a calculated, expensive, and bold play. The Bison are paying $12.5 million to join the Mountain West Conference, plus another $5 million to the NCAA to move from the FCS to the FBS. That's real money, especially for a school with under 10,000 undergrads in Fargo, North Dakota. But North Dakota State isn't guessing here. They're betting on who they already are. This is a program that has won 10 of the last 15 FCS national championships, including the 2024 title under first-year head coach Tim Pulisic. In fact, their last 4 head coaches have all won national championships. That kind of institutional consistency doesn't happen by accident.
No, it absolutely does not. And to pay $17.5 million to both the Mountain West and the NCAA is a huge step, and not one that you're going to make without being absolutely sure that you can hang at this level. And we saw Delaware and Missouri State. They moved up from FCS to FBS this past season. They were able to hang. I believe both of them made college football, made bowl games this past year, and North Dakota State was better than both of them. So we'll see what North Dakota State can do, especially in what's now going to be a quote unquote weakened Mountain West with a lot of the competition going to the Pac-12.
And I think they look at James Madison making the college football playoff.
Yeah.
And they're like, we could do that. We
Absolutely.
were better than them for most of the time, except for the fact when they had Kurt Signetti, that was basically it. But, why did the Mountain West do this? Well, let's be honest. This move isn't just about North Dakota State climbing up. It's about the Mountain West trying to stabilize itself. I mean, they lost Boise State, San Diego State, Fresno State, Colorado State, and Utah State to the Pac-12. That's a massive hit to brand power, TV appeal, and football credibility. So what does the Mountain West need right now? A program that wins, a fan base that shows up, and a brand that still means something nationally. And North Dakota State checks all 3 of those boxes.
Yeah, it absolutely does. I mean, as you mentioned before, 10 of the last 15 FCS national championships. The stadium gets absolutely mental if you have
Fargo Dome.
If you have not seen the insanity that happens in the Fargo Dome, you're in for a treat. And yeah, because they've been so competitive on the FCS stage, they do mean something nationally. It's one of the more imported teams in NCAA football, the video game, to bring them in. So I mean, they are very, very relevant. Just because they're an FCS team doesn't mean they're not relevant. This is a very, very good get for the Mountain West Conference.
Mountain West Commissioner Gloria Navarez called it a championship mindset, and that's not a spin. This is the Mountain West saying, if we can't outspend the power leagues, we'll out-identify programs that know how to win. Now the reality check for North Dakota State. It won't be easy. And I mean, North Dakota State will play a full Mountain West schedule in 2026, but won't be eligible for conference title, bowls, or the college football playoff until at least 2028, and won't receive full conference or college football playoff revenue until 2032. So they're going to have to find a way to get more scholarships. They're going to have to get larger recruiting budgets. They're going to have to get bigger travel operations, and they're going to have to expand staff support. And that's a major leap financially and logistically. You talk about all the money that they have to pay to make this thing happen. Add the money that you have to do to just accomplish all the things that we just said for them to be competitive in the Mountain West.
And just to be, not just to be competitive in the Mountain West, to be competitive in college football, because we saw the report a couple of weeks ago about Rutgers being $500 million $500 million, in the hole as far as how much their athletic programs. Penn State, a big school like Penn State, is also in that couple $100 million financial hole as well, just trying to stay competitive in Division I college football, both of them Big Ten schools. So yeah, this is a huge leap of faith for North Dakota State to make this jump.
North Dakota State believes its culture, physical style, and development model will translate. And in a state with no pro sports, the Bison don't compete for attention. They are, in fact, the show. I mean, but you look at the Mountain West now. I mean, they're all over the place, and a lot of places don't necessarily have mountains. UTEP does, but they have UTEP in the conference now. Northern Illinois, North Dakota State, Hawaii, all 4 of those schools are in the same conference.
Yeah.
That is a massive scale for the Mountain West and their footprint. Now, what does this mean for college football? This move says something important about where the sport is going. Winning. That was hard, huh? I'm going to try to do try to make it a little bit more difficult.
I love
as
it
the week goes on.
I love it when the people who win are genuinely psyched That's always fun to hear.
Yeah, who was that?
That was Michael in Paradise Hills.
Nice. Congratulations to Michael, Paradise Hills. Guy's a truck driver driving around. Love it.
Yeah, we did.
He was just out there dropping stuff off, it sounds like.
We were genuinely about 10 to 15 callers in there. Like, we went through the board twice, at least, for that one.
A little bit more of a difficult question. The trivia question was, for the ticket giveaway, since 2018, the starting right fielder on opening day has been Fernando Tatis Jr. or Will Myers, and two others. Name one of the two. First one to do that wins the contest. A lot of people said Hunter Renfroe. Yep. Hunter Renfroe was the starting right fielder in 2017 against the Dodgers in a 14-3 loss at Dodger Stadium. Will Myers was the starting right fielder in 2018. And then also 2020, 2021, 2022. Fernando has been the starting right fielder for the Padres on opening day, 2024, 2025. 2023, David Dahl was the starting right fielder for the Padres on opening day in 2023. 2019, the starting right fielder was Franmil Reyes. We had a lot of Hunter Renfroe guesses. We had a lot of Franchi Cordero guesses. We had a handful of Manuel Margot guesses, but those were the answers to the trivia question today. How about that?
We had a Matt Kemp guess as well.
Matt Kemp was 2015, 2016. So, head was in the right spot. Do you want to name me the starting right fielder for the Padres 3 years in a row in right field on opening day before Matt Kemp? He played for Team Italy.
Could it have been Denorfia?
It is Chris Denorfia. Starting right fielder before that.
I thought he was a center fielder, honestly.
He played both. Starting right fielder before that. White Sox manager.
Oh, Will Venable.
Will Venable. Before that, Granite Hills alumni Brian Giles. Brian Giles is the starting right fielder for the Padres on opening day for 6 straight seasons. Before that was Xavier Nady. And who was the starting right fielder for the Padres between Nady and Gwynn? Bubba Trammell started in right field in 2002.
I have a core memory with Will Venable. Like I said, I would go to, there was a streak of about 7 years where I went to every single Padre Met game when they were here. One year, it was Odrizame Despaigne shoving it down our throat all day.
He had a great year that one year.
Yep.
He flirted with a no-hitter a couple of times.
Yeah, including against the Mets, which was ruined by, I think it was...
I don't want to hear it, dude. Big Sexy hit a home run against James Shields.
It was either Wright or Daniel Murphy hit a double in like the 8th inning with 1 out. Tied the game up, and then Will Venable walked it off in the 10th inning. That was my "are you kidding me" moment.
A fun game that you could play is, can you name the player for every position who had started the most opening days per position for the Padres?
No.
There is only one player on the active roster that has started the most opening days for their position. Can you name who that player is?
I would assume that's Manny.
That's Manny. Has made 6 starts at third base. He just did it last year and he just passed Headley. After last year, it would be 7, but he didn't start at third base in 2024. Tyler Wade did. Remember, he was hurt.
Yes,
he was the DH or something. Machado 6 starts on opening day for the Padres at third base. Hosmer was close. He tied Adrian Gonzalez for 5 starts at first base on opening day. There's one by far the most, and I'm sure you get this if I tell you, but 17-time starter for the Padres on opening day in one position.
Benito Santiago.
No.
It's Tony Gwynn.
Tony Gwynn. Next highest was Brian Giles in right field, who has made the most opening day starts as a starting pitcher, there's 3 names that have all done it 4 times for the Padres. That's not a bad question for trivia.
Yeah, so we'll save it for tomorrow then.
I could save it for later, maybe. Later in the week. I guess I got to save it later in the week. That's a good trivia question, but people now are going to look it up, so I'll come up with a different one. Can you name me the 3 pitchers that have made the most opening day starts for the Padres in Padres history?
And no, we're not giving away Friday's tickets now. So calm yourselves. Stop. Do not call.
Take a guess. Take a guess.
Would Peavy be one of them?
Peavy's one of them. He made 4, right? Well, they've all made 4.
I would assume Randy Jones.
Randy Jones is the other one, and there's one more.
Believe it or not, my Padre pitching lore doesn't go all that deep.
He made starts to the Padres on opening day 84, 86, 87, and 89.
That was on Final Jeopardy last night.
What movie is that from?
Men in Black.
That's right. It's not Andy Benes. It's not Mark Davis. It's not Matt Sauer. With the initials ES. Anybody in the chat want to guess? Anybody want to? That would be Eric Shao. Eric Shao was the other pitcher that did that. There's only one current Padre, still a current Padre, that has been close. Can you name him? One current Padre has made 3 opening day starts.
Be Darvish?
Yu Darvish. That is correct. There you go. There's some Padres trivia for you. Let's really, real quickly, get to our American League West.
Let's do that. All right, so we'll start off up the road in Anaheim. The Angels are leaning heavily on bounce backs and unrealized potential. Trout healthy equals still elite, hopefully. Neto emerging as a legitimate top-of-the-order piece. Soler brings power, and Logan O'Hoppe has been steady at catcher.
I think I know where this is going for the buy or sell.
Their concerns are Yohan Moncada and Joe Adell's consistency.
Yohan Moncada's on the Angels?
Yes, he re-signed again. Defensive alignment in the outfield, and that Christian Moore must earn his second base spot. It is not guaranteed. Buy or sell. The Angels are finally a playoff threat.
I knew that's where it was going. No, they're not. Not even close. I've been waiting for this for the last handful of years.
Falling on.
Sell. Calling all you Angels. I'd rather just listen to that song for the next 5 minutes than watch an Angels game. Is it odd that they decide to play the entire song every single time?
No, it's not odd. It's painful is what it is. They do the
entire... And the other thing, too, it's your Angels because we upset our fan base by calling us the LA Angels. And not the... what? They're going to be bad. A playoff threat. Come on. If Mike Trout stays healthy... No. Hot take for you. Mike Trout stays healthy... They still finish in 4th.
Yes.
Full season of Mike Trout, they still finish in 4th. Yep. And you know what? The A's might be better than them. Maybe they come in last if Mike Trout still finishes the season. They're bad. They've been bad for decades.
Now introducing your Orange County Angels of Los Angeles and Anaheim.
And Fullerton.
Love it, too. For the Houston...
You know what? They should just call them the Big West Angels because the Big West has so many cities in Orange County.
That is true as well.
Your Big West Angels.
For the Houston Astros, Altuve, Alvarez, and Correa still feels like October baseball. Their strengths are Yordan Alvarez remains one of the most feared hitters in Major League Baseball, while Diaz and Walker deepen the middle of the lineup, and Peña's continued growth. Wild card is going to be Isaac Paredes if he plans. If he stays and plays regularly, this lineup could be a top 3 in the American League, or he gets traded. Their concern is that their bottom third offensive depth and the aging curve when considering Jose Altuve and Carlos Correa. Buy or sell, Houston wins the West again.
I'll buy it. They find ways to do it. They have some voodoo magic that makes this thing happen. Carlos Correa is back. The villain side of the Astros is back. I will take I will buy that. I think they win the division. Dynasty whispers premature. They're not done yet.
The Houston Astros presented by Waste Management. The Oaklamento Athletics. Young core taking shape. The lineup is deeper than people do think. Their strengths would be Brent Rooker is real power. Meanwhile, Jacob Wilson and Nicholas Kurtz are foundational prospects with Jeff McNeil stabilizing the lineup. Their concern is they really don't have a third baseman, and they're still thin in star level production. So buy or sell. The A's will shock people and hover near 500.
I'll buy that. This is the beginning of the time where they're not going to be bad. They're not going to be a joke, I should say. They will be more competent. I think they're going to shock some people. I think they're going to be a lot better.
Yeah, they're not.
Their rotation's not bad. Severino, Springs, Savali, like those guys are solid, and the lineup's got some sneaky pop with some young players in that minor league stadium up there in Oaklamento. I don't think they're going to be a joke. I think they're going to make progress. They're now starting their trend to being ready to go for Vegas. That's
Yes.
They put shovels in the ground. It's time to start boosting the team. You'll watch; they'll become good overnight. A's are going to be around 500, if not over.
They also still don't have a trademark, from what I understand. The Seattle Mariners. The lineup is deeper than previous years. The Donovan acquisition gives them flexibility. Meanwhile, Julio is still a superstar centerpiece. Cal Raleigh and Josh Naylor bring the power. Meanwhile, Randy Arozarena brings playoff DNA. Their concerns: heavy platoon reliance, inexperience with Young and Emerson, as well as their offensive consistency. Buy or sell. Seattle has the best rotation in Major League Baseball.
Yes.
Logan Gilbert,
They got a pretty
Brian
good
Wu.
rotation. It's going to be hard to beat their rotation. Gilbert, Wu, Kirby, Castillo, Miller. If healthy, it's pretty good. I mean, I'm sure the Dodgers have, but like Blake Snell's already behind. I'll take the Mariners rotation. That's always been their biggest asset. If they miss the playoffs, it will be on the offense.
I agree. Finally, the Texas Rangers to round out the show. Bounce back city. This lineup feels more balanced than flashy. Their strengths would be that Seager is elite when healthy. Langford is an ascending star. Bergert is legit power, and Carter provides upside. Their concerns: Carter versus lefties, Young's durability, and Jock Pedersen's streakiness. Buy or sell. The Rangers have the highest ceiling in the American League.
I buy that. That doesn't mean they are the best. That means out of all the teams, they
have
could
the potential
they have
to
the
move
potential
on.
to be really good. DeGrom, Eovaldi, Gore, Leiter, Rocker. It's got a lot of question marks, but a lot of elite upside with Leiter and Rocker, who were great in college, still learning how to pitch. Mackenzie Gore, the couple of tweaks. Who knows? He was a top prospect in baseball. You got arguably one of the best pitchers of his generation. Jacob DeGrom still around. Nathan Eovaldi's had good numbers, great numbers in Texas. The rotation's solid. I think with all of that and some of the players they have still offensively, they have a chance to do have a really good season. I mean, they just won a World Series not too long ago either. But the problem becomes, can they piece it all together? And that's why I think they have the highest ceiling. If DeGrom throws 150 innings, they win the West. How about that?
That's fair, I would say.
Thursday show, we'll have more for you. We'll have some college basketball news for you. We'll have more Padres baseball updates from Peoria for you. Coming up next, Tony Gwynn Jr., Chris Ello, Matt Scraby, Gwynn and Chris.